Happy Friday morning, the last Friday of the year. Luke Anderson filling in for Dirt and Sprague. Before we get started, I want to introduce everyone to the most important man in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Will freaking Ortner. Will!
What's up, dude?
What's going on, bud? How you doing?
Oh, just talking about workout plans. Lifting.
I need to get my workout plan going. I was planning on doing it before the start of the year, end of the year, because I didn't want to be like New Year's resolution guy, because that's really not my plan. I need to get a little more power in my golf swing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and
I have one core exercise.
That's all I need.
I saw on Instagram.
Working my core.
Yeah, no, there's an Instagram dude out there who's like, this will help your golf swing and your baseball swing.
No, I don't care about the baseball swing. No, I don't care about the baseball swing. I have no desire to work on that.
No softball for you?
I used to play softball, but I always got hurt. You run into stuff. Hamstring. I'd always, because you try to go from not running at all,
right,
and drinking beer to be like, dang it, I got to try to leg out a single. And then I'd always, it's that competitive nature. And then inevitably you end up like, when I was playing, I was a little fatter than I am now, but I remember playing shortstop, running across the infield, and that's how I partially tore my rotator cuff. But I was running across the infield, and the ball's just out of reach, and I was like, oh, I'm a little top heavy, and I'm a little out of balance, and so I ended up, I'm going to use air quotes, diving for the ball, which was kind of like, I'm probably going to fall, so I should probably just make it look like I'm going for the ball.
Make it look like.
And so I dive, so left arm goes out, hits the ground, but I also put my right hand down to catch myself, dislocated my pinky on my right hand. So I pop up and I look at my pinky and I'm like, it's going the wrong way. And then I pop it back out and my hand was smarting. Mm-hmm. So I didn't realize until the next day that I messed up my shoulder on my left arm. Because I finished the game, I just kept playing. I was more worried about my hand.
It's called being a warrior, right there.
Because it was grotesque. Well, hey, listen.
It's fighting through injuries.
I probably am too tough for my own good. I mean, I don't want to say that, but I finished a basketball game with a broken foot. Next morning I woke up and I'm poking at my foot going, I think that's broken. So first thing in the morning I had to go in with a broken foot. When I was a kid, I got my arm ripped open by metal spikes playing in a baseball game and wanted to keep playing. And everybody's like, no! Like, they had to, like, fight against me. I'm like, just wrap it up. I'll go after the game. And they're like, no, like, we can see your bone. I'm like, yeah, well.
Just rub some dirt on it. We'll be okay.
Yeah, like, it's funny because you see, like, these pro athletes that are praised for their toughness. Mm-hmm. And, like, they fight like a warrior. They're playing on a broken foot. They get paid quite a bit of money to do it, and there's like real stakes for these games. Like, it really matters. Like, if you get to be a champion, obviously your legacy is defined. Part of it is just like, guys are dumb.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I kept playing in a pickup basketball game, like at the end of the night. So there used to be the Hoop in Vancouver. I think I'm
aware of the Hoop.
Okay, it's now like a mega church.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're at the Hoop, and they have like the way they used to do it. There's 6 courts in there. You'd walk into the Hoop, and depending on how busy it was that night, you'd have between 1 and 6 courts of basketball going. Mm. You jump in on the bottom court. You win, you play up to the next court. You lose, you're either out if you're on the bottom court, or you move down, and you try to get to the center court and play for number 1. I wasn't trying to play for number 1 in this last game. I wasn't trying to make sure we didn't fall off the bottom. No, this was like the last 10 guys in the gym. They're like, hey, you play one more game? Yeah. And then I hurt my foot, and I was like, they're like, we're not going to quit, are you? I'm like, no way.
Well, yeah.
Literally played for nothing on a broken foot.
Because you don't want to be soft.
But yeah, like the toughness and this game matters so much. No, it's just boys are dumb.
Bill Burr has a great bit back in the day. It would not be PC today.
Okay.
But the whole...
I don't think he cares about that.
The whole bit was basically, men just don't want to be called soft.
Yes.
Men are terrified that they will be called soft by their peers or other dudes. And so they'll just be like, Doesn't hurt. Don't care about it. Just got dumped. Don't care about it. She was lame anyway. She was crazy. Just lost a baseball game. It doesn't matter. They cheated. I wouldn't lose on purpose. Like you fall down. You see men jump right back up. There's no man that falls down and like lays there and is like, oh, this sucks. You got to be really hurt to fall, lay there and be like, someone call an ambulance. Someone help me.
Yeah, we instill all these values and all this virtue and all this honor to guys that go out there and play. Dude, we all would do it. You know, it's a football thing too. It's the concussion protocol and all the football. I don't know if I want my kids to play football because they'll hit their head and they'll get concussions. If you take a group of 11 boys that constitute like your starting offense for a football team and you take away football from them, I'm going to say 9 out of those 11 are going to go find another way to give themselves a concussion that afternoon.
Oh, 1,000%.
The other 2 will wait till tomorrow. They're going to get on a skateboard or a bike or a snowboard, or they're just going to climb trees. Yep. They're going to jump off of their roof onto a table where their buddy's laying on it and give them an elbow drop because they want to be in the WWE. Like, they're going to find ways to knock themselves out. You know what? Some of them might just go pick up a stick and hit themselves in the head to see how it feels.
Oh, dude, the dumbest thing that we ever did in football.
In football.
Okay. We had this play where basically a guard would pull and hit a defensive lineman, and it would be this big explosion every time because the D lineman never saw it, and the O lineman would line up for it. Well, one of our D linemen got really smart to it, so he would line up, and if he saw his side go away, he would lower his head, and it would just be this big collision. So we bought those. When you watch football now, sometimes they have this padding on the outer part of the helmet. You ever seen those?
Yep.
The Michelin Man head thing?
Yeah, they have a name, but I know what you're talking about.
I forget what they're called.
Yeah.
The first day we had them, we had 2 for each guards, and we had 2 for both D linemen.
Yeah.
Before practice, we put them on and then ran and headbutted each other.
Without helmets.
No, with helmets. Helmets on. We'd line up 10 yards apart from each other and sprint at each other, and then Chris Benoit headbutt each other.
Yep.
Like literally jump through the air and try to headbutt each other like a ram.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
You see coaches headbutt their players in helmets. The coaches aren't wearing helmets. They just go up and headbutt the helmet. You ever see the guys do that?
Yes.
Yes. Boys are dumb. That's just like... We all are, and still are. Like, men are dumb. Like, we're just boys with jobs and credit cards. Like, we don't get much smarter. We just got to figure out how to cover up how dumb we are, so girls will hang out with us. That's all you do when you get older. But we're still that same kid that's just like, bet you can't jump over that on your bike.
Oh
yeah, I can.
Oh, dude, do you know how many times I got into wrestling matches because like, hey, dude, there's girls are coming over. All right, we better get the dumb out now. Like, let's go fight now. Or, depending on the girl, it might make it dumber.
Oh, of course.
I can't tell you how many times I've gotten into wrestling matches, fights, or bench press competitions. We used to have a bench press in my garage in college.
Yeah.
We'd have like a party. We'd have some girls over. Girl would come up and be like, which one of you is stronger? And then me and 3 of my roommates, I'm the strongest. No, I'm the strongest.
Yeah.
Well, how do we figure this out? Guess we got to have a bench press competition at 1 a.m. after drinking a 30. Like, that's what we got to go do.
Yes, boys, dumb.
And we're like, this is totally going to get us laid. Nope.
No, of course not.
Not at all. She did not care. She was hanging out with the wide receiver. Didn't care.
The one guy that's just like, these guys are idiots.
The one guy who's like, those guys are idiots, and I have a 6-pack. And
the only reason he's not not going in the bench press contest with you
he's
guys.
He's gonna lose.
That's exactly right.
He's gonna lose.
He wasn't being virtuous.
No.
He was being tactical. He was just going, well, I can't win that. Guess I'll hang out with her. And he's like, wait, this is actually working.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute. Oh, I have a 6-pack, and then you've got a 2 D linemen and an offensive lineman that are like, that was sick. We just did a bench press. And then
then you turn around, it's just you all shirtless in the garage.
Yeah, like, the girls will be in there still, but they're now holding the wide receivers.
That's what I mean. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you guys are now your own little group, and you're like, I guess we'll get drunker.
Well, and then on Sunday morning, you're like, man, how'd we mess that up?
I wasn't even there, and I can picture this exact scene.
How'd we mess it up? I don't know what happened.
Yep.
She should have came home with us. I don't know how we screwed that up. She didn't even have to leave.
We nailed it.
Like, I would have had her.
Dude, that lift was sick, bro. I can't believe you put up 315 18 times.
Well, then it just goes down the whole path of, well, now I need to lift more.
Yeah. Oh, they weren't impressed.
That's clearly what the issue was. It's like, no, you're an idiot.
If I was stronger.
You're an idiot. And there's a dude. Oh, yeah. The guy who has a surfer body and hair. Yeah. They're going to go hang out with that guy.
Yeah.
They're not hanging out with Tubby Lumpkins over here.
Well, yeah. But again, you know what? I have a buddy who was self-conscious about his size and his weight or whatever, and he had a crush on this girl all through middle school and high school, and he's like, she'd never go for a guy like me. Like 4 or 5 years out of school, whatever. Pictures on Facebook show up of him. Looks exactly like my buddy.
Yep.
Her is like spitting image. Dude had just enough confidence or met her at the right time.
Yeah, just go up and say hi, or did it the right way. Like,
yeah, that's the whole. Just be a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, hey, dude,
be a nice guy. Try to put yourself in the right place, the right time as much as you can, and don't get hung up on one person.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. But also, like half the time, it's just dumb luck. Yeah. Like just
right
have
place,
the confidence.
It's right place, right time. You can't
go
control
say hello.
Yeah.
Be nice, or go to a small 2A school and be 6'5".
Or, I mean, maybe we don't listen to you.
That's what.
How you doing? How you doing right now?
That's how I got my first couple girlfriends.
Yeah, sure. How you doing right now?
You know what? I signed some autographs the other day. I'm doing okay. Sometimes you're doing okay. That did happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I know. Being young, being dumb. It's awesome.
Young and dumb.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it while it lasts. Because one day you'll get swept off your feet, and then it's all downhill from there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That I don't think anyone's sweeping me off my feet. I think I'm having to learn.
You're gonna do the.
I'm at that stage where you said 5 years later you look on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and the dude looks the same as your buddy.
Yeah.
I'm hitting that stage right now. Where it's like,
that's where you're at.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
I look better than that, dude.
Yeah, but that's not the thing.
I could have been. And so then you're like, well, now I might as well just go talk to people.
Did we talk about this on air yesterday, or was this off air? But who hits on you more at the gym?
Oh, it's dudes.
Yeah.
Dudes love me.
Yeah.
I'm a real guys guy. Dudes rock.
How'd you get those shoulders, bro?
Loaded lateral raises.
Sweet. You think I could show me how you do those lateral raises?
No. Not with me.
You want to hang out?
You
want to hang out?
I got one gym buddy. I got one gym buddy.
Yeah.
And that's about where I'm gonna keep it. I don't need every kind of chunky dude or formerly chunky dude to come up to me and be like, so what was your weightlifting journey? No, I'm good. Like, I got my buddy. I like him. We talk baseball and football and basketball.
There you go.
And then we pump iron. And we're good there.
Yeah. Well,
and then sometimes I see Sook. And I talk to Sook for a little bit. And usually it devolves into him being like,
want to fight?
I could choke you out. I could choke you out right here. I'm not going to do it because I'd embarrass you in front of the hots.
Yeah.
But I could choke you out.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. My one weightlifting story with Sook, I was a sophomore in high school. He was a senior at Mountain View High School. And I do my 11 reps of 135, and I think I weighed 135. So I feel pretty good about it. Feel pretty good about it, right?
That's a good lift.
You know what? Pretty proud of myself. And he comes over, Anderson, how many times you lift that? 11. He curls it 12 times, calls me a P, and takes off. Cool.
See, but that right there is why you got up when you broke your foot. You kept playing. That right there is why when you hurt your shoulder, you got up and you just popped your finger back in because you don't want to experience that again and again and again.
No, sport fun. Me go play more. Like I'm just a dumb kid. I'm still that dumb kid. Like if I hurt myself tomorrow doing something that I'm enjoying, I'll probably keep doing it. And then they're like, well, why didn't you stop? And I'm like, well,
having a good time. It was fun, and I didn't want to get called soft or the P word.
See, I don't that bothers me less than just you just want to be out there for redemption. Like how many times you've been playing golf and you're like, oh man, something doesn't feel right in my hand, in my arm, in my leg, whatever. You're like, yeah, but I'm playing golf, whatever.
Oh, dude,
come on.
The other day I saw a kid hit a lift and I was like, I'm gonna have to go hit that lift. It's not even chest day, but I'm gonna have to go hit the bench just so everyone knows I've got the strongest bench here. That dude's taking too long on the squat rack. I don't even squat, and I'm gonna go in there and do rows just to piss him off.
Well, you know how football started. Like the way football became a sport in America.
Just two guys that wanted to fight each other and couldn't box or something.
You just had a bunch of Americans standing around going, what, are we done with the Civil War? What are we going to do now?
That's right. That's how the South got tough. That's right.
This is how football was born. It was just like, wait, no more war? And then they just decided to play football.
Like, let's fight.
Yeah, it was. Because you have to remember they didn't invent the forward pass until the early 1900s. They played it for like 4 decades where they just ran into each other.
That's fantastic.
They just lined up. It was rugby without the elegance. It was the reason they invented the forward pass. They called up Teddy Roosevelt in 1905 or whatever it was and said, hey, we had 15 kids die in collegiate football this year. Any ideas on how we could stop that from happening?
Well, and then Teddy Roosevelt's just like, I'm not banning it.
Yeah, no.
I want toughness.
No, dude, that guy, he's a rough rider.
Yeah, I want a bunch of dudes who are carrying a big stick.
Yeah, that's
talking
right.
Quietly.
That's speak softly and carry a big stick.
That's right. I paid attention in history class.
Yeah, you did. Nice work. All right. Did you pay attention last night?
I paid attention.
Did you?
I won lots of money.
Ooh, where'd you win your money?
I won it in football and in basketball.
All right, you can tell me what games you bet on and where you won. We'll start there. It is a Luke and Will edition of Dirt and Sprague for one more time to finish out 2023. This is 1080 The Fan. I believe they're going to be here on Tuesday the 2nd. For now, you got me, Luke Anderson, Will Order, filling in. We are on 1080 The Fan. We're on the Odyssey app. We are on YouTube. I just had to turn the lights on. I like the lights. I like the lights turned down low.
I know.
When I go, but I did pull up the screen when you asked me to turn the lights on, and it was dark.
Yeah, we just need to see your bright smiling face.
There it is. It's weird being on a TV show. That's not really a TV show. It's just on YouTube. But people are watching. People are listening. That's what we want.
Hey, there are people that make a lot more money on YouTube than people that are on TV.
Well, yeah, but there's people that are on TV that make a lot more money than people on YouTube.
Most, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
not most. Not most.
People on TV do make more
than most people on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes, that's true. But there are a select few that you can do pretty well on there, but
yeah, I think Mr. Beast is doing okay.
Yeah, well, Mr. Beast?
Yeah, you don't know about that dude?
No, I don't know about Mr.
That's the guy who made the Squid Games.
Is he a YouTuber?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought Squid Games was Korean.
No. It was, but then he made like an influencer version of it, and it was like shot for shot. Except I don't think he killed people. I'm pretty sure those people are still alive.
Well, that's less fun.
And it's not like Squid Game.
Well,
it's like Squid Game Light.
Oh, that's
Diet Squid Game with no calories.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It's all about the hustle. I like the idea that anybody can get famous on YouTube, though. It's anybody can do it. I'm like, no. It's still like it's just like regular entertainment. You have to be really good at what you do. You have to put a lot of work into it. It's still not just odd. Just get on YouTube and you're famous.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though. His videos where he's like, "What will happen if I lock someone in a room for 100 days?" And if they stay in there, they get $2 million. And then he gets like 800 million views. And then he's like, I made a lot of money on that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I guess you have a formula. You going to go out and do that?
Well, yeah. When I get a lot of money.
That's how you get the money. But isn't that how you get the money?
But what came first, the chicken or the egg? I think he started, if I remember right, he started being like, I give $20 to a homeless person.
Yeah.
And it just has escalated.
Who's got the most money in NIL right now?
Oh,
the highest NIL signing.
I know Laliva was at like 8 mil.
I think it's Bronny James. I think it's a dude that was already famous.
Was that
before he started playing college basketball? But they're just like, oh, we should get that guy.
I don't know. Livy Dunn was pretty high up there too at one point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, and she has a commercial now.
No, she's got a bunch, dude. She's like
I know, but
cover of the year on the swimsuit edition.
Well, I get that, but she had like an actual commercial where she was talking, and I was like, oh, you're not that good of a spokesperson, but you got 1 million followers. Everybody knows who you are.
She's got more than 1 million.
I know.
Yeah,
well, millions of followers.
Millions, yeah. No, she's a big deal. People, whatever she says, people buy.
It's wild, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean, like
I know, but
think about it before. What the difference is nowadays it's like, hey, you took a bunch of really cool pictures. Now we all agree with what you say. But like, if Brad Pitt was like, this is what got me jacked for Fight Club, everyone would be like, I gotta go do that. That got him jacked for Fight Club.
Oh yeah, that's not the crazy. 2 years ago, you could not put your name on anything as a college athlete, and now it's like, yeah, go nuts.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The how quickly it went, and how quickly it went to human nature, which is like, oh, she's hot.
Well, I'd make the argument that the NIL is the best thing ever for female college sports.
Ooh, yeah,
because
and better than Title IX.
Okay, well, Title IX might top it, but I've paid more attention to female college sports in the last year and a half.
To the sport or to specific athletes?
See, but you start paying attention to specific athletes, you start turning on games, and then all of a sudden you're getting eyeballs to that sport, and you're starting to realize like, oh, hey, that player's pretty good too, or that player's pretty good. You know, like.
Have you watched any LSU gymnastics meets?
That one, no.
Okay.
That being said, have I watched Pac-12 gymnastics meets? That has happened.
There you go.
But the big one for me was.
Do you credit Olivia Dunn for that?
I credit it being homesick and it being 11, and it was the only thing that was on that caught my interest. But like for
so it has nothing to do with the argument that NIL is the one that drove
for college basketball,
yeah,
I would tune in. So last year, the Cavender twins, they are it's Hannah and Haley. They are big influencers.
Sure. Yep.
They were both on the Miami basketball team.
Yeah.
They had a deep run into the playoffs. I'm starting to pay attention to them. All of a sudden, they run into, if I remember right, I can't remember if they ran into South Carolina or LSU, but then that made me start paying attention to, oh, hey, that Angel Reese lady, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're tuning into like South Carolina and you're like, oh, Aja Wilson, she's really good. Now, oh, hey, UConn, Paige Bucket's really good. And so you start paying attention. It's like, oh, hey, there's this good basketball player here, there's this good basketball player, there's this one. And the difference with the female sports is, especially with basketball, they're going to stay there all 4 years. They probably make more money in the NIL than they do going and playing in the WNBA.
But again, it's a very select few, but those are also the ones that have the professional potential too. So, I mean, it's the idea that, well, not all athletes will get paid evenly. It's like, well, yeah, Shohei Ohtani's going to make more money than, I don't know, choose a relief pitcher on the Mariners.
It's going to make more than Feliz Castillo.
There you go. But yeah, you choose who you like. But yeah, in his career, he will out earn Willie Bloomquist. We get that. But it's at the same time, I do get your point that there is the opportunity for more of that. But I think it happened with social media even before NIL. I think the NIL is just a way for, these corporate sponsors to join in the party without being an official booster. Hey, let's make sure that we take care of our school and we get our guys and take care of that. But it's so the wild, wild west.
Yeah, but it's
right now. But the NIL isn't based solely on on-field performance. A lot of it is, all right, well, what are you doing on social media? What are you doing with that? The opportunity for them to get paid for their talents off the court, to me, is actually, I think, the best part of it. I can't remember. I think it was a wrestler from Minnesota that was either a DJ or he did something with music and wasn't allowed to do it and got kicked off the team because he was making money outside of the sport.
Yeah.
So I think just making it fair where it's like, hey, if you're going to go and put in the work and create this personality, this persona online, because I don't think that just happens automatically. It's either luck or talent or effort.
It's a combination of, honestly, those three things together.
For sure. But the fact that you couldn't take advantage of it because you were a college athlete, Jeremy Bloom couldn't go and take any sponsorships for his Olympic skiing pursuit because he played football for Colorado. That was dumb. So I think it makes it fair for the people that have these other opportunities as much as it does for the people that are just insanely talented on court, on field, on whatever.
Right. And it does increase that. I just think, and maybe this is dumb. Maybe this is more just because I have too much free times on my hand. And so I'm on Instagram more than I should be, or X more than I should be.
Maybe you're not on it enough. Maybe you need to be more of a contributor and less of a consumer.
Maybe,
and we could be talking about you. Oh man, that Will Ordner, he used to work here. Now he's a hot body on Instagram.
Now he's on Chanel or whatever.
I don't know.
But I seem to be seeing more and more of those influencers, and so then I'm paying more and more attention to it.
Well, is it? But
see,
I don't know enough about social media. Well, yes, but. And I don't know enough about social media, but what I think I know is that they give you more of what you're already seeing.
Yeah,
because you're looking at influencers, you are getting more influencers. Where if you were looking at more pottery design, you would get more pottery design.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
it's an algorithm.
Yeah. So the algorithm is feeding you what you want to see. So you right now, as a young 20-something single that is excited about giving out autographs, you're going to be getting more of what feeds your interest right now, we'll say.
Yes.
And so I think a lot of it is just going, hey, there's plenty of what you want to see out there, but there are a lot of other weird stuff out there, man, that, whether it's weird to you, but they can keep your aunt or your great aunt or your nephew or your niece or whoever just as interested with whatever gets them because of all the content creation that is happening out there. There's something for everybody, and the algorithm is going to treat everybody a little bit differently, but I think you fit a pretty wide profile there of he likes hot chicks.
Yeah. Well, he likes hot chicks. He likes weightlifting. He likes sports.
Yeah.
I just know for me,
I feel like that's a pretty common.
Right. I've been on Instagram for a long time. I've been on Twitter for a long time.
How often
X.
do you post on either of those?
Almost X more now because of this job.
Sure.
I try to fire off my sports hot takes. I want to make sure that those get disseminated to the masses.
Sure.
Instagram, I have 4 pictures.
Yeah,
you're getting a picture once every like 6 months.
Okay.
Like it's not. I had an old one and there was more on that because I was young and dumb in high school, and I had a class that made me post 4 times a day. That was stupid. But
Because there was a teacher that didn't know anything about it.
it was my social media class.
Oh, there you go.
I took a social media class.
Sure.
Got an A-.
Was it an influencer that taught the class?
No, it was the great Jennifer Green.
I don't know who that is.
It was some teacher at Central. But for me, like I've been on social media before NIL and after, and I clearly see a lot more now.
Sure.
Even when I was in college.
Well, because you can benefit from it. Putting in the effort where you're not getting any of the reward is futile. So
they were still doing it.
I understand that there are people still doing it, but like I know a friend that works for a college was saying that like one of the gals on the basketball team has 1 million followers and gets a bunch of NIL money because she does today's candy that we're trying on Instagram or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's like we're gonna try this candy bar today. Almond Joy. Tomorrow, Mounds. Be ready for that one. Like, and that's their shtick. It has nothing to do with basketball, but at the same time, there's NIL money there available because there's 1 million people that go and watch her try a whatchamacallit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's why. Oh, you have 1 million followers. Here is free workout gear, or here is free. Whatever your avenue.
Here's $100,000 to try $100,000.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, well. Look, there's a dude who just eats pizza.
Wait,
and
really?
He has millions and millions of views, and he might now be the most important, or at least the most listened to pizza critic.
Really?
Yeah.
How did we miss that boat? I could eat just pizza.
I won't say the catchphrase. I don't know if I can get in trouble.
Whatever. Is he a stout man?
No.
Still fit?
Pretty skinny dude. Well, I think he only has a slice.
Well, it's not bad. It's a pretty good gig. And he's probably not buying his own pizza anymore.
Yeah, definitely not. But he made his money elsewhere.
Well, how do we make you into a social media influencer?
Well, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get the 6-pack.
You have 4? No, see, that's not the way to do it. There's 1 million 6-packs out there. You need to do something nobody else is doing.
8-pack.
No, not 8-pack. Just be like, what's your favorite food? Be the taco guy. Like, if this guy's eating pizza every day.
Guy.
There you go.
Huge taco guy.
If you start like, okay, so if today you go out and grab a taco for lunch. Today we're trying Taco Bell. There's
I try everything on the. I should just do the supersize me.
No, somebody's already done that. Try every taco in Portland.
Ooh. There you go.
Once a day. All you gotta do is what's it cost for a taco? Between
$2 and $10 maybe.
Sure.
Like high class. Maybe
if you're doing, that'd be like a plate of 3 tacos, whatever.
Right.
You do 1 taco and just go, hey, I'm the taco guy on Instagram.
Taco King.
Or whatever. There you go. Taco King. And you can just start doing that today. And you'd be just like Pizza Guy in Portland. You're telling me somebody's not gonna give you a free taco by the end of the month?
Yeah, I bet you, dude.
Right.
I mean, it depends on the views, but yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You're gonna get there a lot quicker than being guy with 6-pack on internet.
No, then I give my hot political takes. Don't you know that this is what you do?
No, I don't.
You get a 6-pack and then you give hot political takes and then you get canceled and then you blame others for canceling you, even though you didn't actually get canceled, and say that you were persecuted.
Yeah, but couldn't you do that with tacos? Like, hey, today's taco that we're trying is Little Conejo in Vancouver. This is a great taco. By the way, primaries are coming up, and I need you to vote for this candidate, and then you get a bunch of money from them.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Politicians call me. Any party. Don't care.
Exactly. There you go.
Highest bidder.
Yeah. All right, that works. Where did Will win his money last night? We'll tell you after this SportsCenter update.
This is College Bowl Week with
on what I assume is the album Bad Company.
It's a good song. Well, don't most have a self-titled album at some point?
Well, self-titled albums, yes, but self-titled song? Like, well, if you ask David Grohl to write the song called Foo Fighters,
I don't think that he would do that, though.
I want him to do that. I would love to have
that doesn't fit his
Jack
personality.
White write White Stripes.
No, I am surprised
Jack White.
that there aren't more rap songs named after, like why there isn't a Drake song called Drizzy.
Or just called Drake.
Aubrey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But yes.
Where's the T.I. song called T.I.?
Yes.
That'd be fantastic.
And it'd be about the Treasure Island in Vegas. Not even about him.
It's just something else, or
Yeah.
Jay-Z.
But like, do other bands have songs about themselves? Bad Company's great. It's a great song. Might be their best song.
Would you be happy if your number one song is a song about yourself?
How many times do you hear the song and go, I definitely know who this is? Because the song
Bad
is the
Company?
same as a bad.
Well, that's might be the first time I heard that song.
Really?
It's a good song.
It's a good jam.
I liked it.
Well, there you go. You can get more of it.
Now I'm gonna know.
Now I'm gonna have to see how many other songs exist that are named after the bands. All right, let's. We haven't talked any sports yet. Do you want to talk some sports?
I'm down to sports. Let's sports a little
You're
bit.
down to sports. So you did tell me before the show that you went to bed at 7:00 last night, but you also told me you won all your bets.
Look,
So I need to know where you put your money. Did you put any money on the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
No, although the Pop-Tarts Bowl did make me laugh. The fact that they ate the mascot and the mascot was in a toaster.
Yeah, let's go.
I also got a very good kick out of.
You were excited about the Pop-Tart game yesterday.
Well, dude, it's
Before-
an edible mascot.
Come
and
on.
In the trophy, you have a toaster.
Yeah, we
And then they literally ate the mascot. The mascot went. It really did reach my hopes and dreams. Because
Fulfilled
I was
everything.
in the studio last night doing
Were
prime
you here
time.
all day?
No, I went and worked out, and then I took like a 30-minute power nap, and then I came back in.
Nice. Love the power nap.
It was essential in college. I'm glad that I still have that in my tool band. That's something that I can still use. Got a nice little power nap, drank an energy drink, and then came in and powered through. But the Pop-Tarts Bowl, everything around it was, well, there's like the toaster, and then all of a sudden you find out that you can eat the mascot. Then the mascot entered the game in a toaster. It popped up, and then on Twitter, you've got all the different songs that the mascot could have been singing. The mascot went out and I don't know if what they did was legal to that referee, but they went and smacked him on the butt. Like, that's funny. It's my new favorite mascot. The Pop-Tarts running around being crazy. Could I tell you what happened in that game? I think K-State won. I'm pretty sure that's how that one ended. But I paid attention. The fact that I went on Twitter and I could hear Creed higher, and it kind of fit with what the Pop-Tart was doing, it was fantastic. But I did not bet on that bowl game.
Kansas State 28, NC State 19.
Yeah, see? Look, there you go. I paid attention. I was just... I had to catch up on some sleep. That was one of those where, like, you go and you sit in the lazy boy.
Yeah.
Kick my feet back, and I was already like, oh, I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to wake up in my jeans right here on my lazy boy.
Yeah. Were you just wearing jeans, too? You just kick off shoes and socks, tear the shirt off, just wearing a pair of jeans
I had my
around?
shirt on.
Like Tom Cruise playing volleyball?
No, there's many a time where you come into my apartment, I will be shirtless. I did have my shirt on at that point.
Okay, so where did you put your money last night? Where was the smart money from Will Ortner?
Smart money. Oh, well, simple. Browns plus 6.5, I believe, is what I got at.
That's all it was?
Or,
Easy.
sorry, minus 6.5. Maybe minus 7.
Flacco.
Dude, that was so easy. Trevor Siemian is horrible. Do you really think that the Jets are going to come in and keep that game within a touchdown? No, they weren't. It was a revenge game.
296 passing in the first half.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say he finished with 3. He's the first Browns quarterback to have 300 yards passing and 2 touchdowns in 4 straight games ever.
Joe Flacco is the first quarterback in NFL history to put up at least 250 yards and multiple passing touchdowns in each of his first 5 games with a new franchise. Joe Flacco did not have a job 6 weeks ago.
He might be. His odds for comeback player of the year went from like 300 plus like 160.
Yeah. Like, how many games do you have to play in to be comeback player of the year?
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly,
That's pretty much it.
you need 2 or 3 games maybe and be really good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, DeMar Hamlin's only played in 2, and he's the favorite.
Well, sure, because he's coming back from on-field death.
Still,
A lot of times it's
still
what
fits
you
my
come
point.
back from as much as anything. But
Yeah, that's true.
But this is remarkable. I mean, the guy was signed on November 20th, and he's just won 4 straight as a starter.
Put them
on.
into the playoffs, and I might argue one of the scarier teams.
I don't think you want to play the Browns right now.
No, like when you
Dude, I
go
can't
down the
wait for
list,
this.
you probably don't want to play Baltimore. You probably don't want to play Buffalo.
Nope.
Is there any other team? Like, I think the Browns are third on that I don't want to play list.
I
Kansas City doesn't scare me. Miami's only beat one team over 500.
well, until this weekend.
If they beat Baltimore.
Yeah. Well,
but then if they beat
when
Baltimore,
they beat Baltimore.
are you scared of Baltimore as much then? Like,
Yeah.
what he's been able to do in Cleveland is impressive, especially since the fact the amount of injuries they had. He didn't even have Amari Cooper in that game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so beat the Jaguars, beat the Bears, beat the Texans, beat the Jets, got the Bengals next weekend. So you can look at it and go, who have they beaten?
Yeah, fair.
But at the same time, you have to win the games in front of you.
And how you've beaten those teams also.
Yep. No,
You won the correct way.
it is very, very exciting. I was roped into basketball last night, and I don't know why I got caught up in it, but I absolutely did. But if you didn't see what happened with the Detroit Pistons last night, this might be my new favorite team to watch. There's something about a streak that just draws you in. So if you miss a game, we'll tell you what happened. We'll do that next. It is Dirt and Sprague, Luke and Will edition on 1080 The Fan. We had Bad Company by Bad Company playing. So I pulled up bands that have a song with the same name as the band. And I don't recognize all of these. The first one on the list, Bad Company.
The most famous one.
Well, there's a couple on here that I think you might recognize. Apparently, Black Sabbath has a song called Black Sabbath. Iron Maiden has Iron Maiden. Night Ranger, Night Ranger. Slipknot has a Slipknot.
I feel like I should have known Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath.
Yeah, but they might not be the best songs because, like, Bad Religion, I like Bad Religion, but it's a very deep cut. It's way back, and it's not a very good song. Like, it's not one that you would know. I would think like it's not on their greatest hits album. Same thing with Green Day. It's from like their very first album, so it goes very far back. Meat Puppets have a song called Meat Puppets, Motorhead, Porno for Pyros. There's a lot of them on here. The one that you definitely recognize is the Monkees, but that's a theme song to their TV show. Hey, we're the Monkees. People say we're monkey.
I do not recognize that.
You never seen the Monkees TV show?
No.
Hey,
I barely even know that there's a band called the Monkees.
Oh yeah, they used to have in the 60s
with the Cars.
They used to. Well, they were basically the American answer to the Beatles, and they made a TV show about them, and they run around, and it was like Scooby Doo in real life. It was very weird.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, well, listen, when you're a kid and you get to watch the Monkees and watch them monkey around, it's pretty great. And then Big Country has a song In a Big Country. In a big country, dreams.
Oh, okay.
That's by Big Country. So it's In a Big Country.
Is that
by Big Country?
Is that the same Big Country that used to play for the Grizzlies?
But somebody did put Big Country on the Vancouver Ford text line, and I didn't know what they were talking about. But I'm like, oh yeah, Big Country. Yes, In a Big Country. So Vancouver Ford text line did help us out on that. And then Queen has Killer Queen, which I don't know if that's a reference to the band. But those are some of the ones on there. So they do exist out there, but it's not a very long list.
No, that doesn't shock me.
And they're not the most recognizable songs. So now that I've said it, I just want David Grohl to write Foo Fighters.
Yeah, but he won't because that's not.
I think he's
not David Grohl. Now, if you said Axl Rose, write a song named Axl Rose, we might have something.
There you go. Huh? Guns N' Roses just writes Guns N' Roses.
Well, I mean, every band that Guns has ever been in is literally got guns in the name.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses, L.A. Guns.
Yeah, I know how it works. I'm with you.
I have to show every once in a while that I do know some of your older guys'
Whoa.
Sorry.
Jeez.
Young at heart.
Easy. I'm talking about the Monkees that were around in the 60s, and you think that's my music?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, but I get made fun of a lot for not knowing things. Oh, I know hair bands.
Okay.
I do okay with hair bands.
Do you?
The irony. I used to have long hair. I like to
rock it out.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. So Detroit Pistons last night. I think they're must-watch television. I turned on the game when they had an 18-point lead at halftime. I just look at the scores, and I'm like, holy cow, the Detroit Pistons on a 27-game losing streak have an 18-point halftime lead against the Boston Celtics. I turn on the game and watch the third quarter. By the end of the third quarter, it's tied. It was just fantastic to watch. It was, here's Cade Cunningham just looking great. Turnover. Here's the Pistons just they turn over. Brick. And Boston just slowly and methodically got it back. And I thought they were going to run away with it in the fourth quarter. No, they end up going to overtime. And Boston ends up prevailing in overtime. But I don't know about you, but anytime you get on one of these streaks, winning or losing, dude, that's going to be pretty epic for Detroit fans when they finally win. But I'm kind of drawn into this drama. I think it is absolutely delightful to watch somebody just be inept.
It's the ultimate, like, it's so bad. It's like Sharknado. That movie is so bad that it kind of becomes good. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go and watch.
I watched Sharknado, but only because a friend of mine was acting in it. He plays the liquor store clerk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, buddy. I used to work with in L.A., so he's in hilarious. Sharknado. I would not say it's like Sharknado. It's
Sharknado, dude, is pretty rough, and that's what the Pistons are. Like, the Blazers are too good to be Sharknado, so it kind of hurts sometimes when you watch them, right? Like, the Blazers, they are young right now, and they are building on something, and they're going to be good again, hopefully in a couple years.
Sure.
When I tune in and I watch, I have to remind myself that every time. It's like they're going to be good.
Yeah.
They're going to build. When you watch a Pistons game, you just sit back and I hope they have 1,000 turnovers, and I hope they're in the dumbest way possible.
But like losing in overtime to me is great. Like the getting close, and every time
you almost had
they pan over to Monty Williams.
You've got to be quicker than that.
Oh, but he's just so disappointed. I mean, he was the highest paid when they hired him, $78.5 million for 6 years. To come in and coach the Detroit Pistons, to get them out of the doldrums. And they go out, they lose 28 straight out of their first 31 games. It's so good. It's so good to watch. And the thing is, like, there's a lot of pressure on Boston, too. You don't want to be the team that snaps the losing streak, especially when you're on top of the East at home. So they pan to the Boston fans. Dude, the crowd was so into the game. It was fantastic to watch. And then I flip over to the Blazers, who are down 28 in the first quarter.
I won money on that, too.
The problem with the Blazers is I have to check. I'd like to see how many players have played so far and how many times they've rolled out the same starting lineup. It feels like they do not have any sort of consistency in who's out there.
Well, they've had injuries. Like
injuries, illness.
Missed a bunch of time. Scoot missed a bunch of time.
Oh, for sure.
Aiton's missed some time. Brogdon missed time. Yep. I mean, there was
Jeremy Grant missed time with his concussion.
Right.
You have Dwop, who gets the game ball the other night, and he is fantastic.
No,
and
he's got a back
he's
issue.
shooting threes more efficiently than any center in basketball. He's out last night.
Shaden seemed to be taking, some big strides forward, and now he's had some injury issues.
Yes. So
they just can't catch a break, really.
Well,
although they weren't going to be that good to begin with.
Well, that's the whole thing is, do they want consistency, or is this just an easy way for them to try a bunch of different lineups? I mean, it kind of works out in the season. It's going to be a lost season anyways. They're not going anywhere this season, but everybody's getting opportunities to play in different roles. I mean, they had Scoot had 3 fouls midway through the second yesterday, and they just left him out because they didn't really have anybody else. And so he's
learn how to play with it.
Exactly. So he's out there getting minutes, and they let him sit for the third quarter because he got a 4th foul late. But you go out and you watch the way that this team has had to kind of fill in different pieces, like Ibu Baji last night. I'm telling you, man, there's gonna be a bunch of Baji.
See the next Will Barton.
No, he's a little taller than Will Barton, but you get these guys that get an opportunity to go and show what they can do, and that's what it should be.
Right. And I do love that, but I also think it would be nice to see if you could get some consistent play time. So
I think if you can get it in the back half of the season is better than the front half of the season.
Right.
Because right now you're kind of trying to see what you have. And you want guys to be, especially the young guys, to be in as many situations as possible. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the season, it's going, all right, let's figure out who we're keeping.
See, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I do think it would be nice for a player like Scoot, right? This is his rookie year, his first year in the NBA. It would be nice if he at times had like a true consistent, like if you're coming off the bench or whether you're starting, whatever, hey, these are the people that I'm going to be out here with, so you can kind of build a chemistry with them. That's the only thing that I think early on might be nice for him or for Shaden. But you've also seen with the amount of injuries and the different roles they've had to play, like it took Scoot a while, but it seems like the game is slowing down for him. And I'm not out here like, now he is perfect. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. That's not what's happening. But the game is slowing down enough to where you're seeing some really good plays being made, and you're starting to be like, okay, I can start to believe in Scoot and what Scoot is bringing to the table. With Shaden, you've seen him take what seems like a gigantic offensive step forward and continue to improve and improve and improve. But I definitely think that it would be nice to get a little bit of consistency and chemistry built up with them, but it's also not their fault. It's like you have all these injuries.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, what are the chances that they're not making a move at the trade deadline? If Jeremy Grant or Malcolm Brogdon or DeAndre Ayton, if there's a market for any of them and you can get a lot back in return, I think you have to consider that. I mean, that's the whole thing, is going out there with consistency. you know who the least consistent player on the floor is Scoot Henderson. So getting him consistency around him is not going to do him a lot of good. It's figuring out what your role is in different moments. I mean, that's the whole thing about NBA basketball is it's figuring out situationally what your guys are capable of. Because if you watch the playoffs, the adjustments that they make, I mean, how many times have you seen an NBA playoff series where one team wins by 20 and the next night they lose by 20? Because they're making these big adjustments. So the idea, this is where coaches make their money, and the most fireable coaches in all of sports are NBA coaches. But it's figuring out how many different ways you can get your guys to be successful. The death lineup that the Golden State Warriors made famous in the third quarter, they come out and just run people out of the gym. But they didn't run that all of the time. You have to be able to have balance, and you can do whatever you have. Because playing against the San Antonio Spurs in years to come, if they finally figure out how to maximize what they can get from Wembanyama, you're not going to go out there and play small ball against them. I don't think it's going to work very well. So figuring out how to match up against different teams and how to play situational basketball is going to be better long term, I think. So I'm fine with the chaos that you get. You tune in, you go, all right, best 4 players from last game, all out this game. Go. Let's see what we got.
Yep. As long as I see improvement, especially with the 2 youngins in Shaden and Scoot, and I feel like that's what you're seeing. So to me, that's growth. And as someone who does hold a Rookie of the Year for Scoot, like I love to see 25-point games.
There you go. All right, hour 2 coming up next. We really have not done a very good job of this all week, but we need to look ahead. We've got a wonderful NFL weekend coming up. Week 17, we'll talk about that next. You're listening to a Luke and Will edition of Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan. listen to that Service Patriots podcast. Service Patriots is your home comfort solution for all your heating and air conditioning needs. Check out their latest special offers for our listeners only at servicepatriots.com/thefan. Podcast available 1080thefan.com, odyssey.com, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, if you attack and eat the Pop-Tart mascot, we have hidden our podcast inside of that.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
Did you see it? They're talking about it on Get Up right now.
Yeah, everybody's very excited about this. I mean,
it's a funny mascot.
Well, it's a great bit. I mean, this is the whole thing. The bowl game is secondary to whatever exploits they can create, right? So you go out there and you have this ridiculous looking Pop-Tart, which I don't know about having the eyes set close to his mouth was intentional to make him look more delicious.
He was funny, dude.
Just creepy. But yeah, he's out there with all the hijinks. It's fantastic. The giant toaster, the whole thing. I don't know what else you want from a bowl game.
Well, and we've talked about this.
The bar has been raised.
You need to have a gimmick when it comes to these bowl games, and the Pop-Tart Bowl understood the assignment and they executed it to perfection. To have the mascot out there and like smacking the butt of the referee, that's objectively funny.
Of course it is.
You want to be memed, and they're getting memed.
Yeah.
And now you're paying attention.
Yeah.
At least I was.
Well, yeah. Did you watch a game?
I did.
You actually sat down and watched the
It was
full
on
game.
in here in the studio.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I watched that one.
You were pretty sure Kansas State won, is what you said.
Yes.
You paid attention casually to the game because it was on the studio.
It was on, and I was watching it.
Okay.
It was confirm or deny.
Yeah.
It was on.
Yep, and you were watching it.
And I had eyeballs on it.
I do like that they left the eyeball there on the corpse.
Well, they still ate it, yeah.
And the red frosting.
And he goes down. He's like, "This has been my dream," with the little stupid sign. That was fantastic.
It's very good.
Fantastic.
Very good. So yeah, they're getting all of their dues, which is fantastic. This weekend, we move on from stupid bowl games into games that really matter. NFL weekend started last night with the Browns winning. Joe Flacco is a hero. A little bit of talk this morning, last night.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with Joe Flacco next year?
Well, he's gone.
Well, he's not staying in Cleveland.
Right.
We talked about Russell Wilson yesterday. He's going to be available. We've got odds for where Russ lands, where he cooks next year. If you were a team looking for a quarterback, would you give a look at Joe Flacco?
Yeah, but if I'm Joe Flacco, I think you go. You'd be done.
You're just right off into the sunset.
Right. Like, unless you hate your family, this is the ultimate way to go out. Like, everyone will remember you fondly. You did well in Cleveland. You're going to have an opportunity to go against your former team, depending on how things shake out in the playoffs. I think that's cool. Like, if you told me right now, Joe Flacco, with the year that he's had, he has put Cleveland back into being a team that you can kind of root for because you want to root for Joe Flacco. When Deshaun Watson was there, you can't root for Cleveland.
No.
That's horrible. He's a horrible human being.
Sure.
But now that Joe Flacco's there, well, that's kind of a cool story. Like, he was this really good player. There were questions about, was he elite? Was he not? He won a Super Bowl. Yep. Then his career tails off. He's basically done. He's basically retired. You pick him up off the scrap heap at 38. He then goes and sets records for, 300 yards passing, multiple touchdowns in every game that he's been on your team.
Mm-hmm.
He leads you to the playoffs in an injury-riddled year, not just at quarterback, but in multiple other positions. Let's say then in the playoffs, he wins one, maybe two playoff games. Maybe there's a shot that he gets to beat Baltimore. Like, if he beats his former team and then you lose in the AFC title game, which I'm not saying that you would get there, but let's,
whatever.
Let's say you get there.
For sake of argument.
What else is there to come back for? What do you get? All you're doing if you come back after that year, you have plenty of money. He signed for ridiculous amounts of money.
Sure.
So the only thing that he would be coming back for is just like either one, you hate your family, or you can't give it up.
Well, but you get a 2-year, $28 million a year to come back and play.
But who's giving him that at 38?
I don't know. But let's just say it would have to be a team that is a quarterback away, right? Like that would be the argument that you would make. How many guys have won Super Bowls with two different teams?
Oh,
Tom Brady
and Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning did it.
Yeah, I don't. That's probably it. But like,
It's rare, dude.
is he going to win a Super Bowl? I'd be pretty surprised.
But again, the only teams that are calling are ones going, dude, we're a quarterback away. We're a quarterback away from going out and doing this. I mean, you see it where Phillip Rivers had his shot. Matt Ryan had his shot in Indianapolis. There are teams that go, all right, well, listen, we're going to try to go all in.
But it also didn't work in those situations.
No, it did not. But people are willing to do it. They tried it twice. So you're telling me that the NFL is so progressive that they're like, somebody already tried that twice. We're not going to try it again.
It's literally only Brady and Manning.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was only like I thought maybe there was like Y.A. Tittle played for multiple different teams or something.
Joe Montana made it to a championship game, AFC championship game with the Chiefs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he would enter some rarefied air, but at the same time, he's 38.
I know.
Last year he played with the Jets and he looked horrible.
Well, yeah, because he played with the Jets.
Touche.
I mean, that's a big part of it is you go out there and you get weapons like Amari Cooper and you have a run game and you have a coach who is probably going to win Coach of the Year, which at this point, I don't know how he doesn't. But yeah, go out there and give it one more shot. But it's the idea that once you're done, you're done. There's a reason that his phone was on. The reason the red phone in the corner that says, call from your NFL agent. Do not pick up. This is not an outgoing line. It's only for incoming calls. There's a reason that phone is on all the time.
Yeah. He's someone who clearly, I mean, he still has something left in the tank or else this wouldn't work. But I also think it's a perfect situation. Like that shows you how good this team is. It also shows you how good Kevin Stefanski is. Because let's call a spade here. It's not like he had the coolest of seats.
No.
Going into this season. He had a good year with Baker the first year he was there. The last two haven't been that great.
Yeah.
Right? And you can argue, well, your quarterback was suspended or whatever. But I do think that to have your quarterback go down, your number one offensive player in Nick Chubb go down, and you still find a way to be successful and get into the playoffs, that's a successful year. You couldn't ask for more, and that's going to give Stefanski 2 or 3 more years to try and figure it out.
Yeah. Well, what are the other best games? I think there's a couple ones that are very obvious, but I think there's some that are under the radar. Will, I want to get your opinion on the best games. We'll do that next. It is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Oregon.
Anybody? No.
I've caught the fever. I've caught the fever so bad, I'm going to be in here at 8.
Yeah, you are. Do it.
No, literally, it's my job. I got it.
I know. It's going to be what a terrible bowl draw. Like, great year for the Ducks, and you get to play Liberty. It's just a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, and it really sucks because I think, again, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, well, when the playoffs start, whenever the playoffs start, so what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Right? So about 10 years ago?
Sure.
You probably, while you're bummed out, you probably have a little bit of excitement about it. Now, this year, there's like nothing because of the playoffs.
Yeah.
If this was flipped, and it was
but you're still
Oregon
playing Liberty.
State,
You want to play somebody where you get credit for winning. You get no credit for winning.
you get no credit for winning, and you
And if you
only
lo-
get made fun of for losing. But so here's my thing: if it was flipped and it's Oregon State playing Liberty, do you think Beaver fan is more excited?
Nobody wants to play Liberty.
No, but
Nobody
you're
wants
in a
to
New
play-
Year's Six bowl.
Yes, I get that, but again, it's a lose-lose situation. You're a major conference playing against a non-Power 5, and
Right.
it's just it's a terrible draw. You never want to play the like here. You get to be Goliath because you're not a big enough Goliath to play against the other Goliaths. You get to play against David. Have fun.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not their fault. They did everything they were supposed to do.
Yep. Exactly. Well, no, they didn't. They should have beat Washington twice.
Well, that's true. You did everything, but you were supposed to do but 2 games. Really, but 1 game because you could have lost the first one.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have made the playoff if you lost the second one. Both would have been out of the. So maybe you wouldn't have had played Liberty. But no, you should have. You needed to win both of those games, and you didn't. And it's your most hated of rivals.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Well, does it make it easier if UW goes and wins the Natty, or does that make it worse?
Worse.
Because you should have beat them.
Yeah. Because you could have beat them.
You should have beat them in the first one. The second one,
it was
close.
It was a field goal to tie. That game should still be going on as good as it was. Like, that game was fantastic. And the second one, yeah, you had the opportunity to win both of those football games.
Yeah, but
And you just couldn't get it done.
UW dominated. Well, not dominated, but they controlled.
They did.
They controlled that championship game.
But you wonder if it looks different where you've already beaten them once, and just that little bit of lift that you have going into those games. But Dan Lanning, we all love him. He's never beaten Washington.
No, I also think that will change sooner than later.
I get that, but
Yeah,
these opportunities only last so long.
you got to beat your rivals.
Yeah, you got to. All right, take a look at the NFL schedule. I'm giving you the opportunity to watch one football game. In this imaginary circumstance, you're not allowed to watch any of the other ones. You only get to watch one, start to finish. What game are you picking?
Of what's left, or just today?
You could go back and watch the Browns game again if you want to, but that's the only game that's been played. Tomorrow you get Lions-Cowboys, which to me that's a pretty juicy game, except for the Lions have already clinched their division. And the Cowboys, they're playing at home, so we expect them to play better. I don't think that identifies them as the front runner for anything, even if they get this win. So I don't know that I'd pick that. And then you get the whole slew of games on Sunday. No Monday night game this week.
Right.
So what are you taking?
I think it's easy.
Easy.
It's got to be Baltimore. It has to be the Baltimore Dolphins game because
you're telling me the Dolphins don't belong.
They're on fraud watch.
Yep.
They are a team that right now, for me, I do not believe that they have a Super Bowl championship chance.
Yeah.
When I look at this team, you only have one win over a team above 500. Now, you've been blessed a little bit with an easier schedule.
How is this game not flexed into Sunday night?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's
They're
see.
playing it at 10 a.m.
They would have had to flex this game, what, a month ago? This game wasn't that big of a game a month ago because it was a big game, but at that point, Kansas City hadn't gone on their losing streak.
Yeah.
At that point, Philly hadn't gone on their losing streak, and the Ravens had a bunch of wins against teams like Detroit, against Seattle, where they brought them into their place and just beat the tar out of them. But also, how often has the NFL been hosed by Lamar Jackson because he gets hurt?
Yeah, fair.
He's usually hurt in this spot. So I kind of get it.
Okay.
I get why they didn't flex it.
Packers Vikings though.
No, that's not a good game. I guess your thought process there is
Division game.
it's a division game.
Yep.
If one team loses, they're eliminated.
Yeah.
But it's also like historic brands.
Yeah, total.
You have Green Bay. People are going to pay attention.
Yep.
You've got Minnesota.
So back to Miami.
It's for the 1 seed because if Miami wins, they would then leapfrog. And I think that becomes a huge deal because if Miami wins this game, the fraud talk is gone.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
You beat Baltimore, who just beat San Francisco. So therefore, you can beat any team.
Right now, I don't think there's a power ranking that exists that doesn't have Baltimore as a number 1 team in the NFL.
And you'd get home field advantage.
Yep.
And that's been a huge thing for Miami when they've had to go on the road in the cold into Kansas City or into Buffalo or wherever. New England.
Well,
they've struggled.
So it doesn't guarantee them the spot either. It just gives them the tiebreaker over Baltimore, which would last for exactly 1 week if they can't go up to Buffalo and win in week 18 too. So I think it makes it that much more intriguing. The next 2 weeks for Miami is if you want to dispel any rumors about being a fraud.
This is where you find out.
Here's your opportunity.
But if you go out and get absolutely bludgeoned by Baltimore, then there's that whole thing as well. I also think you can see...
And it's possible if you lose this game, would next weekend be for the division?
I believe so if Buffalo won.
Yeah, Buffalo wins this week. So Buffalo has... Who do they have this week? They have the Patriots.
Yeah.
They have the Patriots. So if they beat the Patriots, they go to 10-6. And if the Dolphins lose, they drop back to 11-5 or 10-5? 11-5.
Yeah.
11-5. So it would be for the division.
So you could go in 2 weeks from possibly a 1 seed to now you're on the road
as a wild card.
And that's a big deal, right? That's a huge deal to be able to get the coveted bye as opposed to having to now go on the road. The other thing with Baltimore, they have proven to me that they are for real.
Yep.
But you also have to factor in, is this a letdown spot to a degree?
Ooh, because it better not be. I mean, for the 1 seed and for all of this, my thing is, to be quite honest, it's at what point do you pull the reins back a little bit and go, all right, most important thing is that we have Lamar Jackson healthy for the playoffs.
Right, 100%. But in NFL, you can't. Letdown spots aren't as bad as college football, but you just went out and you had a big game 2 weeks ago against the Rams. That was rock 'em, sock 'em, knock 'em out. You just went on Christmas Day, Monday Night Football, the big game of the week, and you bludgeoned the team that everyone thought was the number 1 team in the NFL. You beat the brakes off them in their own house.
Yep.
Could you possibly have a little bit of, hey, this Miami team isn't for real.
Yeah.
We're going to dominate them.
We're so good.
And then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, it's a tie game, right? Yeah. So I think that's an option as well. When I look at this game, it's the game that you want to watch when you wake up on Sunday. It is the 10 o'clock game. Like, you might even crack open a beer at 10 a.m. for this game.
Might crack open my 3rd beer. Had 2 during the pregame. Let's go.
Dude, I love drinking as much as the next guy. I'm not drinking at 10 a.m.
You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
That is true. To me, this is the marquee game. It has everything that you want in a football game. There are stakes for it. It's for the number 1 seed.
Ooh,
and it could also
steaks and a beer.
It could also be a
steak and eggs for breakfast. A couple beers.
It could also be a preview for the AFC title game as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree with you. It has absolutely everything that you would need. So that would settle the top of the AFC. What happens at the bottom of these conferences? Who do you think the last 2 teams are in? Because there are a lot of teams that are still alive, and I don't know compared to other years, but it feels like there's a lot of teams kind of floating around the middle this year.
Yeah.
So I'll have you make your predictions on who exactly will be playing that first wild card weekend in each conference. We'll start with the AFC. We'll do that after this SportsCenter update.
This is College Bowl Week with Dirt and Sprague.
Brought to you by Mod PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Sports Center is brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge. Online at aneheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on The Fan, the Oregon State Beavers that are taking on the Notre Dame Irish today in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. The Irish right now, they're favored by 6.5. Kickoff at 11 on CBS. The other big bowl game tonight, number 7 Ohio State. They take on number 9 Missouri in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Ohio State is favored by 5. Kickoff scheduled for 5 over on ESPN. Over in the association, the Pistons have now tied the NBA's longest record for a losing streak at 28 games, despite being up 21 points at one point in their game against the Celtics. They fell 118 to 122 in that one. They can set the record for most consecutive losses ever Saturday against the Raptors. Tough loss for the Blazers, falling 118 to 105 to the Spurs. Jeremy Grant and Malcolm Brogdon, they each combined for 29. Scoot, he had 25 in the loss. Blazers, they're back in action, doubleheader, taking on the Spurs again tonight. Right now, the Blazers are favored by 5.5. Tip-off at 7 in the Moda Center. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Watch and wager on every game at Spirit Mountain Casino with a sportsbook powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Go deeper on the Trailblazers. The Rose Garden Report with host Sean Hyken. Download the Rose Garden Report on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Colder weather is here, and so is cold and flu season. That means it's the perfect time to bring your kids in for a well child visit. It's a checkup to make sure their development is on track and their immunizations are up to date. And while you're at it, schedule their annual teeth cleaning too. Dental care is an essential part of your kids' overall health. Find easy tips to stay healthy at careoregon.org/kids.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-217-1155. That's 800-217-1155. 800-217-1155.
Discover, this is Daniela.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you like asparagus and mushroom sorbet? I've got leftovers.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 15% on select Sanctuary by Green Fiber blown-in insulation when you buy 30 or more. Plus, get an extra 5% off every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Card. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store or Lowe's.com/credit for details.
This is College Bowl Week with Dirt and Sprague.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
On 1080 The Fan.
I don't know if you know this, Mr. Ortner, but 7 teams make the playoffs in each conference in the NFL. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it used to only be 6. Now it's 7. Wild card weekend, they play 3 games in each conference. One team gets a bye. It's all very, very exciting.
I cannot wait.
We love it. I was thinking we got the YouTube thing here. We should put one of those whiteboards that we have out in the bullpen area. Put it right behind your head or my head. write our predictions down so everybody can see them right on the board.
Or we could do the old, what was that, Woody Page, where people would write silly messages whenever he was doing Around the Horn.
We can do that. We'll drag in one of the whiteboards and we'll write silly messages on it or put our predictions on there. But what I want you to do is tell me. So you've got Baltimore beating Miami because you believe that Miami is a fraud. You think Tyreek Hill is a joke, and you think Tua is the laughingstock of the NFL, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, assuming Baltimore is at the top, how do you have the rest of this shaking out for the AFC playoff picture? Right now, sitting at 8-7, fighting for the final spot in the playoffs would be the Colts, the Texans, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals. You still have the Raiders and the Broncos alive. Not all of these guys, most of these teams not with starting quarterbacks, which is fantastic. You have the Bills and the Jaguars who are in right now, but the Jaguars have not sealed up their division. They're still at 8-7, along with the Texans and the Colts. And then you have the Chiefs kind of falling, but nobody really wanting to chase them in that division. So how do you see this shaking out for the AFC playoff picture? Who are the 7 teams at the end of the day?
Well, right now, you've already got, obviously, Ravens, Dolphins, Browns. They're in.
Yep.
No worries there. The Chiefs are going to be in. They're going to win one of their final 2 games. They're in. No issues there. I am terrified for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a hot take that they might not find their way in, especially with Trevor Lawrence's injuries. At the end, I don't have their schedule, and I was trying to pull it up.
I got it. Don't worry. I got
They're
you
playing
back.
Carolina. That should be a win. But who do they have week 18?
Carolina, and then they play the Tennessee Titans.
So they kind of escape there because when you look at the Jaguars, they're 8-7.
Yep.
Colts are 8-7.
And the Texans are 8-7. They have to play each other. And the Colts have a little bit more difficult run at this. They have
Vegas.
They have the Raiders, and then they have the Texans, and then the Texans are playing this weekend against Titans.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mix where everybody's playing a little bit of everybody. So nobody has an impossible run at this.
No, and the Texans get C.J. Stroud back.
Yeah.
Which is huge for them because the difference between him and Case Keenum or Mills Mafia, it's a big deal there. For me, once you go through the schedule, I do think Jacksonville gets in because I think they beat Carolina. They should take care of business. They should.
They better.
Right? They should take care of business.
The same thing I said about the Seahawks. If you want to be a playoff team, there are games that you have to win. This is one of them.
Buffalo's in. I don't have an issue saying that. They're going to blow out New England. They're going to be in.
Yeah, and then they have Miami to finish it out, so they better beat New England this week. This cannot be a look-past game. And Josh Allen has been playing very well the last however many weeks. So it's ever since Joe Brady took over.
To me, they're good. They're in. The Colts is where it gets interesting. I think the Texans, with C.J. Stroud, greater than Colts
with Gardner Minshew.
And that is strictly a quarterback play there. Now, I think if you're a Colts fan, you've done better than you would have ever thought this year.
Yep.
You were supposed to have a rookie quarterback. He was going to have a lot of growing pains. He's a really interesting talent, but he's got a lot of raw issues, right? He is a truly raw player. He has succeeded on his natural ability, and he needs to learn how to read defenses and how to go through a progression. And he looked really good at the start of the year, and then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
So naturally, it's like you already weren't thinking you were going to have a stellar season. Your quarterback gets hurt. Gardner Minshew, he's a fine stopgap player. We'll struggle a little bit. We'll get a good draft pick, and we'll build. We're going to get young, and we're going to build. And then Steichen and Gardner Minshew decide to go, we're going to play way over our skis. You're going to have good Gardner Minshew for the entire season. And now you're in the playoff hunt, but I still think your heart gets broken.
Yeah.
And I think it gets broken by Houston. I love what DeMeco Ryans is doing. And so when you look at this, I like
these are 2 rookie head coaches.
They're rookie head coaches and different sides of the ball. DeMeco's defense, Steichen offense. But I think where DeMeco has his edge is his quarterback is better than Gardner Minshew. And I think what C.J. Stroud has done this year, I mean, to me, he's the easy offensive rookie player of the year.
Yeah.
He is going to go out And I just don't see how they lose to the Colts. A lot of football matchups come down to who's the better coach, who's the better quarterback. Steichen and D'Amico, I think, have shown that they are very equally talented as coaches, just on different sides of the ball. And to get out this much effort from these teams on years where they were supposed to be cellar dwellers to be in the playoff race is gigantic. So then to me, it just comes down to the quarterback and CJ Stroud greater than Gardner Minshew.
Well, here's my thing that I don't really know about the Colts.
Yeah.
The Colts were led by Jonathan Taylor the last couple of years.
Right.
He has not been healthy and he's not been consistent, but this was supposed to be the team that was a quarterback away for years and years and years. And they tried everything that they could to kind of fill it in. Gardner Minshew, if he's good enough, I think it's about everything else. I think if you can eliminate it from being a quarterback battle, I think Indianapolis should be able to win this game. And I think that's the job of Shane Steichen, to go out there and make it easy for Gardner Minshew, where it's not on his shoulders, and make CJ Stroud, a rookie quarterback, have to win the game with his arm at the end and see what he's got. See how that clutch gene works. So if you can get a lead, if you can hold on to the ball, limit the possessions, and go, all right, here it is, end of the game, you got to drive. I think you like your chances. I think that's the most interesting battle right now. You've got the Steelers eliminated in your mind. You've got the Bengals eliminated in your mind. I kind of can understand both, but I think that game in Seattle this weekend is going to be really interesting. I think that's one where you kind of look at it, because the Steelers are not a team to be counted out. I just feel like they always have an opportunity to do that. So we'll see what they can do. They do finish with the Ravens, which makes things awful difficult. If you're
once this year.
But it makes it awful difficult if they're playing for a 1 seed and you're playing for a playoff spot. That's going to be a wild game too. So I wouldn't count out the Steelers, but I think that you've got it pretty close. Who that 7th spot is, it's going to be fun to watch.
I really feel like that's the only one in the AFC that's kind of up for grabs in my mind.
Yeah.
Where, like, when you look at the NFC,
well, we'll look at the NFC.
I think there's a bunch of spots open.
We're going to look at the NFC next. It's always the more interesting conference in my mind, because I don't think it's as top heavy. It's going back 25 years. I don't think it's as top heavy. But we'll take a look at the NFC. We'll do that next. It is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Stinking it up.
Do not
conferences, Will?
I don't know if I love their 2-conference system.
Yeah?
It forces you to pick one conference or the other. Why can't we have multiple conferences?
Well, you know what? I think that they should have 5 and only 4 of them get into the playoff. I think that would really be the way to do it. But then also have like another 5, 6, 7 that kind of are irrelevant unless the original 5 like somebody
really suck that
Well,
year.
no, not really suck, but like everybody's pretty good. And then they eliminate themselves, and so then you put in somebody, I don't know, Cincinnati or somebody into the thing. So
isn't that how they got to the Super Bowl that year? They were an at-large bid.
Yes, yeah, the Bengals when they were. Hey, look, it worked. You see?
I know. Dude.
I had to check and see if it worked. Nailed
it.
It
Does work. Look at you.
I nailed it. Did it work? Not only did it work, I mean, I could even center it a little bit, but
that cracked me up. I'm not gonna lie. Watching you pull that in, it distracted me from my producer.
That's good. I'm pulling in the other half for you on the next break, so you'll have one behind you.
You should. I can't wait.
I will.
I'm gonna write fun messages.
Yes, you should.
I might do movie quotes.
That's not a bad idea. Nobody has ever thought of an original idea more than copying things from movies. Brilliant. You
miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah. Anyways, so 2 conferences. We've talked through the AFC. The NFC, right now, San Francisco on top, also at 11-4. You've got the Eagles, Detroit Lions, and the Dallas Cowboys at 10-5. They're all clinched. 3 spots left. Tampa Bay is a division leader right now at 8-7. The Los Angeles Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, that is 3 teams from the NFC West, the toughest division in football. All looking at playoff berths right now. At least they control their own destiny. On the outside, looking in at 7-8, Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta Falcons, Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints. How does it shake out in your mind?
So for me, I think the Bucs win this weekend against New Orleans, and that pretty much clinches.
That should wrap up the division. And then they'll have Atlanta next weekend. So if for some reason Atlanta is still hanging on. So Atlanta would have to get a win this weekend. And they play the Bears. So, I mean, that should do what it does. And then they play the Saints next weekend. So I actually have that wrong. And then the Bucs get the Panthers to finish it out.
I heard this crazy stat. This is like the first game since like middle of October that the Saints have played outside.
Oh, wow.
That's
nice.
I'm not going to claim that to be true, but I did hear that on a sports show, and that is hilarious.
Let's take a look at the Saints schedule. That shouldn't be too difficult to do. Right. So if we pull up the Saints schedule, so they're playing at the Buccaneers. They played last weekend at the Rams. There's a roof on that. They played at home against the Giants, Panthers, Lions. They played the Falcons with a roof. The Vikings have a roof. They hosted the Bears. They played at the Colts.
There's a roof there.
They at home against the Jaguars, at the Texans on what day was that?
There might be a roof on that one too.
In Houston, the NRG Stadium.
Is there a roof there?
Yeah, I think there is. You're right. So at Patriots in Foxborough, that would have been week 5.
So they haven't played outside since week 5, unless there's not a roof in Houston and I'm wrong.
I think NRG Stadium. I think they do have a roof because don't they play Final Fours there?
Yeah, the roof is the ceiling. Yeah, there's a roof there.
The roof is the ceiling. That's right, Jordan. Yeah, October 8th.
Yeah, there's a roof.
Yeah,
NRG has a roof. Yep. October 8th.
Yep.
That's insane.
There you go.
This is their first game outside since October 8th.
Yeah.
Only we can bring you that type of...
But if you looked at other dome teams, I mean, I'm sure that's probably not unprecedented. But yeah, no, that's a pretty long stretch without playing.
Right. Anyway, I think the Bucs win. I think the Bucs dominate them. I like the way the Bucs are playing this year.
Baker, you got Baker fever.
I got Mike Evans fever.
Mike Evans is great.
1,000 yards every year he's in the NFL.
And it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback.
Right.
Because he isn't even there since Brad Johnson. Is that,
I think you're a little off with Brad Johnson, but he was there with Jameis. He's been there with Braids, and now he's been there with Baker.
Well, and if he was there during Jameis, the Fitzpatrick year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
the dude just dominates. I think they win that game.
Would you like to see Mike Evans in a different uniform?
I think you're going to next year.
Fine.
You know what I mean? Like, are they?
I don't know.
They're going to shell out the money to keep him. I think you have to keep Baker, but Do you
Yeah,
then
but you
have
got
the
to
money
keep his best
aside?
weapon. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's Calvin Johnson retired because he was stuck in Detroit. Mike Evans feels a lot like that, except for
But he's a free agent, so it's like,
well, yeah. But he's also gotten the opportunity to play with Tom Brady and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as Detroit. So that's what I'm saying.
And he got to play with a one-of-one player, Jameis Winston.
That's
No one has ever thrown for 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in a season.
He is great. And so that puts we'll assume that puts Tampa Bay a win this week, and then a layup like the Carolina Panthers next weekend puts Tampa Bay in. So those are your division winners. They'll be your division winner most likely. So then you've got the Rams and Seahawks. I think both of them holding on.
I think it holds chalk. Like the more I look at the schedule right now and where everyone's at, Minnesota and Green Bay have to play each other. So one of those teams for sure.
And then
is eliminated.
Minnesota plays Detroit to finish things out.
Right.
And then that means the Packers will play the Bears.
Right. Well, and let's say even if the Falcons beat the Bears, I don't see the Falcons running the table.
No, that's true.
And if they run the table, they still have to have some help to get in.
Well, so the Falcons will play the Saints. The Vikings will play the Packers. So your 2, 7, and 8 teams, someone will be eliminated this weekend.
Exactly. And so even if the Falcons, because the Falcons play the Bears are technically still in. They're not in, right? They're not. And if the Bears beat the Falcons, that eliminates the Falcons anyways.
Yep.
So then all you really have to look at, because if Tampa Bay wins, like I think, Tampa Bay has basically locked up that division. They also have basically eliminated the Saints. Sure. So then the only team that really has a viable spot is the winner of the Minnesota-Green Bay game.
Yep.
Now, I'd like Green Bay to win that game. I think Green Bay, I've seen enough out of Jordan Love. I think he's a good QB. I think they can win that game.
So that puts them to 8-8. Next week they have the Bears. So if they play this
Very
week,
winnable game.
Okay. So now if either Los Angeles or Seattle drops, we'd have to figure out the tiebreakers there. But
here's the problem. The Rams played the Giants. Yep. They should win that game.
Yep. And then they have the 49ers.
Then they play the 49ers. And that's where it gets weird. But if the 49ers have wrapped up that 1 seed, do they sit guys?
Well, there's 2 11-4 teams right behind them, so I don't see that there's an opportunity for that. But I mean, Detroit is playing against Dallas, so I mean that's a game that they could lose. So I mean, I can see that scenario,
right?
But I mean, I feel like you may be looking at exactly what you have. You've got the Eagles playing the Cardinals this weekend, and then playing the Giants. So I've got the Eagles winning. So I have that game mattering for the 49ers. I think the Rams might have the toughest spot, having to play the 49ers, who should be playing for the 1 seed in week 18.
Right, but then you're still going through, because if it is the Packers, and because I do think the Seahawks run the table because they get Pittsburgh, and they get Arizona, and you should beat Pittsburgh at home, and Arizona
beat Arizona
has
on the road.
Nothing to play for. Seattle should win. So then I agree with you. It then comes down to the Rams, but here's the thing: all you would do then, it would be Green Bay Rams tiebreaker.
Yep. And
who has the tiebreaker?
We'd have to look at that.
And because I don't believe that they have played each other, right?
Yeah, let me see.
And the Rams, as you go through their schedule right now, they did play each other. The Packers won that game.
Well, but you would have a circular tiebreaker too if the Seahawks can't win out. So it'll change based on what happens with other teams too.
Right. But so I still just I still see the Rams getting in.
Okay.
I think the Rams get in.
All right.
All they need is Green Bay to lose one of those games. I still think Green Bay beats Minnesota, but it's not like the Bears game is a cakewalk.
No, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to work it out. It'll be interesting to see how many games have playoff implications in the final week. That's really what you want, is as many games as possible with playoff implications.
I worked my way into it. Well, it's like, the Rams can. Wait, they already lost to Green Bay.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a sneaky one. Green Bay has some big wins. As you go through their schedule, they have some big wins where you're like, oh yeah, they won that game.
The Jordan Love era.
And then you look and they lost to the Giants. The Giants loss might be what keeps them out.
Yeah, well, the NFL is that way, man. That's the thing about taking the Dolphins, who you hate, and going through and say they haven't won any games against good teams. But there's so many teams that have losses against bad teams. And you know what the Dolphins don't have? They don't have a loss against a bad team.
They do not. You are correct.
So which is better? You know? So we'll see. It should be a fun weekend. I am certainly looking forward to it. I do want to talk a little bit about the college football playoff because we do have that this weekend. We've got other bowl games as well. So we'll go around and see if there's any more mascots that you want to eat for the bowl season. We'll do that to start hour 3. That is next. This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
X Golf is the home of indoor
If you're just joining the program, I am Luke Anderson. We will do a regularly scheduled Sinner and Saint tomorrow. We're going to kind of make that a year-end show, so we'll do a lot of, best of list radio. We probably won't get to anything we want to get to, but that's kind of our plan. But I'll let you do some teases maybe later in this hour, Mr. Ortner, if you've got some favorite moments of 2023 as we get ready to flip the calendar. Of course, you've done every single show on this station this week, haven't you?
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, you know me. I just say yes.
Yeah, whatever you need, guys.
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be hanging around over. I'm doing my Jay Leno. Like, don't worry, Conan. I'll be right here at 10.
You know, Leno used to show up, do his show, and then fly somewhere around the country and do stand-up at night.
No, I just figured he did it in New York. Because they're all old stand-up guys, right? Like Letterman, Leno, Stern.
Stern, I don't think was a stand-up guy.
No.
Stern was a radio guy. I think his dad was in radio, and he started as a teenager on air. So Stern, not a radio guy.
So they all knew each other. So I just figured.
Yeah, Letterman started in radio and local television, and then he went out to New York, or went out to LA and did stand-up, and then he went into TV pretty quickly. He went into TV hosting pretty quickly, and then Leno was a stand-up, and he ended up being a guest host on the Tonight Show, but he kept doing stand-up after he had the Tonight Show. So he would go and do the entire Tonight Show, get it recorded, and then fly out somewhere after the show and go do a stand-up gig. So
that's some work ethic. I want to go and read the book, because there's a book about
the late night wars.
Yeah.
I read the book on Letterman, which was actually kind of disappointing because I always loved Letterman, but he was apparently very difficult to work with and kind of a pain in the ass.
Does that shock you though? Like,
no, but it was
his comedy was built.
Yeah, no, it does. It doesn't. But at the same time, they kind of went through the process of how he got to be my favorite version of Letterman, which the one that I remember was the one where it was just him, where it felt like everything was off the cuff. And he was just relaxed, and the interviews were always great, and he never took himself too seriously and all of that. So I didn't know much about the early Letterman. Like in the 80s, I didn't stay up and watch the Late or I guess it was the Late Show.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Or the after show?
Yeah, it was, whatever they call it.
The one after Carson.
Yeah, it was the spot that Conan took over.
Right.
So, anyways, so reading that part of it was that he was kind of unbearable. But he had a really good team around him and didn't give them enough credit. And the book does a good job of kind of highlighting what it took to create David Letterman. Then he had the quadruple bypass or whatever it was. And then he's like, you know what? I'm just going to show up and just do my show. And he had enough cachet at that point that he could basically do that. And that was the Letterman that I really liked.
Yeah, see that. Like, I never really watched Letterman.
Yeah.
I've seen clips. I've gone back.
Well, yeah, he was done by the time you were in middle school.
High school, maybe.
Okay, but still.
Yeah, no, because he was still going. I just remember him like attacking Jay Leno. Like Conan was the first where he was big on like YouTube. He would put a lot of his clips on YouTube. And so that's how I watched. I never would stay up, or if I was up, I was watching something else.
Yeah.
But I used to watch a lot of the old, like the cussing dog that Conan had.
You mean Triumph, the insult comic dog?
Yes, Triumph.
That's a Rob Smigel bit, which is fantastic.
So funny. And then like some of the interviews that Conan would have, I thought they were funny. And then that led into seeing Letterman and Stern. And I just never found Leno funny. Like the clips that I did see of Leno.
Because he wasn't funny. Well, here's the other thing too, though, is... What's that?
He was whatever to me.
Well, yeah. Well, I was never a big Leno fan either. I actually don't mind some of his like old stand up and stuff, and he was good, and you can see why they went that direction.
Right.
But the thing for Conan is it's funny that you say you consumed him through YouTube.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of the one that ushered in the modern era of the late night show. But he had written for Saturday Night Live, he wrote for The Simpsons, and he was one of those guys that wrote bits. And Letterman did bits in the 80s, and they had their things, but it was really, his show ended up becoming a long form talk show, which did not translate really well into the youth, as it were. And Leno was kind of the same way, where it was the monologue was just bulky, and every writer in Hollywood had the number to the fax machine in Burbank that they could send in jokes to, and Leno would read them all.
Right.
And so that was always kind of the inside thing about that. But yeah, the late night wars, it was Letterman just expected to be able to move right into Carson's spot, and they didn't. And then CBS gave him the record contract. So there's always plenty of spite there. And Letterman was winning the war for a long time. And then it just kind of went back and forth. And now everything's clips. Yeah. Everything is, what can you do for me on YouTube? What can you do for me the next morning? I don't watch any of the shows, but every once in a while I'll catch, like, Kimmel does some good bits, and
he does some stuff
mean tweets and
that
whatever
cracks
else.
me up.
Yeah. But tuning into the show and sitting down and watching one, I haven't done that in a decade.
And I wouldn't do it. No. Like, I've never. Fallon has some okay bits every once in a while. I think James Corden, he's the best at finding the games, although he's already said, like, he's pretty much done.
Yeah.
Because it just burns you out.
Yep.
But like when it comes to those late night stuff, it's all about the clips now. Kimmel, and they're all doing like carpool karaoke. That's the best thing Corden ever did, because he can do that for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Sing a couple songs, show like what a good vocal range you have, be buddies with the musicians, and then just kill it. Like Jimmy Kimmel did the exact same thing, but he had his kids in the car.
Well,
with Olivia Rodrigo.
Well, Seinfeld did Cars. What is it? Coffee and Cars with Comedians, or whatever it is.
Comedians getting coffee or something like that.
Yeah, whatever it is, in Cars. But I mean, that's a bit that turned into, something that was kind of a viral sensation when it first came out, and then it turned into a show and whatever. And I've never really sat down to watch it, but you don't need a late night show to do that.
Right. Well, Between Two Ferns. Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, which was Funny or Die.
It's a great bit. It's hilarious, and it works every single time.
I don't know if it works every single time.
I don't know, dude. Some of them,
but they live on as clips because you can go and watch them in 2.5 minutes, and
Right.
it's just the way comedy has changed. And now we're on YouTube, and we're putting up whiteboards, and we're doing silly things.
Yes, we are.
So we're gonna need to move your whiteboard. It's not.
It's
not in
just
front.
a little too far away.
Yeah.
That's the only issue.
Well, that's easy. I brought you the stand. You can put yours right behind you.
Oh, I have a stand?
Yeah, you can get up and move it right now. Wherever you want. You can do it right now. I can fill the 38 seconds it'll take you for you to do that.
I'll do it on the commercial. We're okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried. Well, I know, but then you won't be able to see exactly where it's framed. But you move it over and you'll be able to get the shaky shake around. Right now, I'm looking at the bowl schedule. Have you looked at the bowl schedule? There's a lot of bowl games left. Holy cow.
Right. Well, it all gets squished because it all has to be done by the 1st.
Yep.
Except for the Fiesta Bowl for whatever reason. But you have to get it all done as quick as you possibly can. And so you're just going to get bombarded. I also think that they realize most people take the Thursday, Friday this week off. Yeah. So it's like, this is where you're going to get your most views. So this is where you want the bowl games.
Yeah. So, what I need to know from you, and I don't need the answer right now, outside of the playoffs, I mean, I think the Oregon State game is fun, but that's because we're all local.
Right.
And Oregon State being the team left out, joining the independent ranks early, playing Notre Dame, right? So that to me has a fair amount of watchability to it. If I can sneak away, I think, I'm sure the office will close early today and sneak out and be able to watch a fair amount of that game. But I want to know the two questions that I have for you.
Right.
What is the game that has the most potential to be a great game that you're intrigued with of all these bowl games? And which sponsor or mascot has any chance of contending with Pop-Tarts? So I need one to watch. I need one watch for the sponsor and the mascot. I need one to watch for the quality of the game. Can you do that for me?
I can do that. I think the mascot sponsor is going to be the hardest.
Okay. Well, you've got a little bit of time. You can adjust your whiteboard. You can get it all figured out. We're talking bowl. It's bowl week on Dirt and Sprague. We'll go through those games next. This is 1080 The Fan. channel, Will and I trying to enhance it the best that we can for you, the viewers. But this is a radio show, and if you want to join in and have the conversation with us, Vancouver Ford text line is the way to do it. All texts on the Fan are via the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit VancouverFord.com. Will making adjustments to what he's got going on back there, trying to see if we can get it to work. I don't know, Will, if you like the new setup that I've got here, but I did add a photo for you, or a drawing for you over my shoulder. You did? That's what I went with. I hope that you enjoy it.
It's a pretty good drawing, dude.
I do what I can. You have to remember I was a professional artist for a long time.
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah, once upon a time I was talented. Now I just do this. So what I'm looking at here is the games today. And I asked you for the best football game and the most likelihood of a mascot being as entertaining or nearly as entertaining as the Pop-Tart.
Yeah. So do you want mascot first or do you want most entertaining game?
Let's go with the most entertaining game, and then we'll move to the mascot.
All right. So it's a cop-out. Totally understand that. I think the most entertaining game is Texas UW.
Well, no, that's a playoff game. Playoff games don't count.
That's a bowl game. That is the Sugar Bowl.
I understand that, but I told you, not outside of the playoff. Give me. I need a reason to watch any of these games that are not like Georgia, Florida State should be entertaining, but I don't think anybody cares about that game.
Then Then I'll probably go with the Peach Bowl. Ole Miss at 11, Penn State at 10. You're not having any opt-outs, or not as much as the other games. The Cotton Bowl tonight. That's going to be a good one as well, because you've got Missouri, you've got Ohio State. But
you've already got the transfer portal. Yeah,
one key transfer out is McCord.
I think this game matters a lot for Missouri. I don't know if it matters for Ohio State.
See, but that's why I went with Ole Miss Penn State.
Yeah, no, I think
I tried to hedge my bet a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good pick. I mean, where did your excitement level on Oregon State, Notre Dame?
It's just not there.
Yeah. Jonathan Smith gone.
Well, it's not
opt-outs.
It's not an offense to Oregon State, Notre Dame. Like, we talked about this. I think it was yesterday, but it's like, if it was a full strength Beaver team versus a full strength Irish team, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, and this is an offense to Beaver fan, but right now Notre Dame is a tier above you.
Yep.
Maybe two. But if you at full strength could go out and play them at full strength and you beat them, and you beat them at a neutral site, I think that raises you up a tier, but I also think it makes you feel better about a season. In this season, Oregon State fans went in and they're like, we could play spoiler. And they got spoiled by WSU, UW, and Oregon. Now, Oregon and UW were supposed to be better than you, but you weren't supposed to lose to WSU. You weren't supposed to lose to Arizona.
Yep.
And so I know that there's some disappointment, and it's even, magnified by the fact that you have now lost your head coach, and you've lost all your quarterbacks, and you've lost all these other players.
I hope that's all your quarterbacks.
All of them but Ben Gulbranson.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Right? So when I look at this game, if Oregon State wins, like, that's a cool story, but it doesn't do anything for you for next year. If the Irish go out and beat you, like, okay, you were supposed to lose. You don't even have your head coach who you just hired coaching in this bowl game. You have an interim.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So for me, I feel like Oregon State has just punted on this bowl game the minute that Bray said he wasn't going to be coaching in it.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of punting on it as well. It'll be cool. I'll tune in, or I'll have an eye on it at the gym. But I'm not going to like stop my workout to be like, I got to make sure I watch all 4 quarters of this Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
It's not who you were this year. It's not who you will be next year.
No.
It is just a kind of floating Oregon State Beaver.
Exhibition game.
It very much is so. All right. Well, if that's the game that you'd like to have, tell me why Penn State and Ole Miss has so much intrigue for you. Because I feel like these are two nearly top tier teams, two teams that are knocking on the door of being top tier, but Penn State is not as good as Michigan, not as good as Ohio State. Ole Miss, they've retained Lane Kiffin, which is really what
bringing
you
a bunch of guys to the SIP.
Yeah. Having Lane Kiffin there with what he's been through in his coaching journey, from the tarmac at USC to coaching with Nick Saban, to kind of being who he is now, I think that's a really good re-sign extension,
right?
If there ever is one in college football, because they've made it a good place for a good coach to stay. So why is it on the field the most important game for you?
You have the least amount of opt-outs. Mm-hmm. You have the least amount of guys who have entered into the transfer portal. It's an 11 versus 10, which next year it obviously won't be an 11 versus 10 playoff matchup, but these would both be playoff teams next year. They're keeping most of their guys. Penn State, their quarterback, Aller, I want to see if he can start taking some strides forward, because he's really the reason that they weren't able to beat Ohio State and Michigan this year. Their defense is good enough to compete with Ohio State and Michigan. Their offense isn't.
Yeah.
And it could be if he takes a step forward, because all year, all I heard from Penn State fans or national media is Aller's the guy. Franklin finally has his guy. Aller's the guy. And then you see him in the games against Ohio State and Michigan. Aller's not the guy. I don't know what you're talking about. He just got his butt kicked. So
But he's the guy against Maryland.
Right.
And Rutgers.
He's a guy against Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
So can he take that next step? And then with Ole Miss, you're getting a decent chunk of these guys back next year. Can Ole Miss go against a Nittany Lion defense that is one of the better defenses in college football? Can you go up and put up points? Because it seems like with Ole Miss, whenever you seem to get into that Georgia, Alabama, that big time game, LSU, depending on the year, they seem to lose that game for the most part.
2 losses for Ole Miss this year are 24-10 at Alabama and 52-17 at Georgia. Those are their 2 losses.
And they did beat
Nittany Lions' 2 losses
are
20-12 loss at Ohio State and a 24-15 loss at home against Michigan.
Right. And
these are 2 really good football teams.
They're good football teams. And Ole Miss, they beat LSU this year, who they weren't as good as LSU has typically been, but that's still a pretty darn good team.
Well, they have a Heisman Trophy winner on that team.
And they did a great job of limiting him.
Did they? Yep, beat LSU 55-49.
Yeah, well, maybe not so much limiting, but limiting him at the last moment.
They did enough. Hey, that's the trick is you do enough.
So can this Ole Miss team take the next step? Can they finally knock off a top 10 team? Can they finally knock off or use this to build on them knocking off Alabama next year or knocking off Georgia?
Yeah.
So to me, that's the most interesting game.
2 really good teams with something to prove. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. That'll be played tomorrow, 9 a.m.
What a horrible decision on the game time.
Right?
Can we switch that one with the Liberty-Oregon game?
You're not excited about that? Get New Year's Day at 10 a.m.?
10 a.m.?
Not a great spot either.
I'm in here at 8.
Yeah, well, you get Wisconsin LSU at
Catch the Fever
at 9 o'clock. ESPN2 on the first. 7-5 Wisconsin against 9-3 LSU. Not doing anything for it?
Not at all. Wisconsin's got another year or 2 before the dairy raid takes over.
The dairy raid.
Yeah, that's what they're doing with Fickle.
Yep, why not? All right, well, tell me which one of these mascots has the best chance at cannibalism or at entertainment for you.
Dude, it's got to be the Cheez-It Bowl. Where is it? I got to figure out. I just saw it. What day
the Cheez-It Bowl is a New Year's Day game. That is the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
There you go. Thank
which
you.
is a combination of Cheez-Its and citrus.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah, kind of doesn't do anything for me. And you get those stupid cheese rolls that go out there.
Right. But you have the King Cheese. Last year, the mascot was King Cheese or Prince Cheese.
Yeah.
I want to see what's going on with, King Cheese.
All right.
Is he nice to his disciples?
His subservience.
Is he a good dude? That used to be a Pac-12 game. The bowl that the Cheez-It sponsored.
Yeah,
not
the
anymore.
citrus.
Well, I think they sponsored like a lower tier. It was like the Cheez-It Las Vegas Bowl.
Well, yeah.
They've stepped up.
Where is the did the Gronk Bowl get played yet already? The Los Angeles Bowl?
Yeah, that was like the first one.
Was it?
Yeah, why do they always have like Gronk or Jimmy Kimmel sponsor that? What's the deal with that?
I don't know what the deal is with that.
They just can't find a true sponsor.
Well, I like these two opponents because I feel like they are very overlooked, and they're playing in the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. What does Barstool do for Toledo, Wyoming? They have to make that fun, don't they?
Oh, yeah. I watched their bowl game last year. They do a whole thing, man, and it's on the CW this year, but they also do it on their own network.
Why do we crack the CW so much? Like CW is trying to get into local sports here, and it was such an offense that the Pac-12 might have to be on the CW. I kept asking everybody, I'm like, do you get the CW? Yeah. You get Root Sports? No. Where would you rather have it be on?
I like this. And, the CW, they've got great people over there. They have a good crew. It's fun.
It's just fun.
And they're getting into sports. That's
what I mean. Like, if they want to get into sports, do you care what channel it is if it's on your dial?
No, I don't. And they're easy to find. They put out a quality program. The only thing that I'm interested in with this one is if you consume Barstool.
Yeah.
You know what Barstool is.
Yeah.
You can't say those things on the CW. So
they have their own broadcast?
Last year, Barstool did it all themselves.
It says CW Network /Barstool.
So that's my question. Like, are you going to be able to keep Portnoy and Big Cat from cussing? Are you and all the people?
Or they do the alternate broadcast?
See, and that's what I'm wondering. But then if it's on the CW, if it's on the CW, you must have the CW people broadcasting it.
That'd be my guess.
So that would make more sense to me because they do all kinds of wacky stuff. Like instead of having a ball boy or like a dog go get the tea, they make some of their bigger employees run out in like short shirts and short pants and go pick up. I think a guy tore his hamstring last year.
Yeah.
Running to go get the tea.
Yeah.
And they've got all kinds of other stuff that goes along with it that makes it uniquely them.
Is that not the perfect matchup for it?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Toledo, Wyoming seems like perfect for that.
Right. A small action, small Mountain West. It just fits.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got a win-win there. Those are the bowl games. I'm gonna tomorrow. The Sinner and the Saint will be kind of a year-end review, but we're gonna pick Will Ortner's brain and see the best, worst, other of 2023. So any big stories from the year, any thoughts that you have, share them on the Vancouver Ford text line. Send us yours, and we'll go through those. You can also comment on YouTube, and we can take a look at those. But yeah, that's how we'll kind of wrap up the show. We'll do a couple segments of best of 2023. Fun. We'll start that after this Sports Center update.
This is College Bowl Week with Dirt and Sprague.
Brought to you by Mod PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a
So Luke Anderson, Will Ortner. But as we kind of wrap things up, this will be the last show you and I do together, unless you decide to show up tomorrow, which you're more than welcome to for the Sinner and the Saint, as always. But it'll be Darkins and I. We're going to do our best of show tomorrow. It won't be a best of. It will be our best of the year, our worst of the year, our favorite moments of the year. But I don't know if you'll have an opportunity to do this with any of the other 7 shows you're hosting today.
I'm not on any other shows today.
This is the only one?
This is it.
This is your last show of 2023?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my last show of 2023.
When did you start with the fan?
2 Augusts ago.
2 Augusts ago. Okay.
Yeah, I think August 15th is when I was signed.
2022 or 2021? 2022. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is your first full year at the fan.
Yeah, first full year.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you. It's been wonderful having you here.
Appreciate it.
The infusion of youth, much needed. All of us old men around here just yelling at the clouds. Was probably getting very old for our listeners. So having somebody young and dumb and full of new ideas is fantastic. So what's been the best part of your year at the fan?
At the fan?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I really enjoyed getting to do all the shows with everybody. I really enjoyed getting to do the couple of remotes that I've gotten to do. I had a great time up at the A&A getting to do the Fan Madness. That was fantastic, getting to do a couple shows up there with Dusty. And then the great Will Darkins and I got to do a show from
Grillworks?
Grillworks, thank you.
Yeah. Getting out and seeing the people.
That's right. Getting to try chicken wings, dude. Some grill.
You'd never tried chicken wings before?
No, I had, but their grills work, man. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed those. What were yours?
Favorite fan moments of the year? I don't know. My 2023 sucked, so we don't need to get into it too bad. We'll make this about you, young man. I don't know. On the fan, I don't know. We had a lot of, there was a lot of fun things to kind of cover and go in and out of. But like, for me, I think the most. This will be year 10, 2024. Wow. Will be my 10th anniversary doing this show. So I think it's just kind of settling into part of it where having somebody like you come in and having different guest hosts and doing shows with Schultze and doing, different variations of kind of what we've done for a long time I think that's been my favorite part is, at some point you kind of do get into a routine of it, but being able to kind of mix it up and appreciate it. And I don't want to I was debating whether or not to get into everything that happened, personally with my family and everything. We lost my brother in February, but it's really made me kind of appreciate the opportunity that we have to have this platform. The listeners have been awesome. And so I think for me, I took a step back, took a fair amount of time off when that happened, and then coming back and just realizing how much fun this job is, and then seeing it through some different perspectives has been awesome. So not only personally, but seeing you come in here just full of fire and passion for what you do. You've been a fan of this radio station, if I understand correctly, since elementary school.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude. It's awesome.
Used to listen to Cowherd with my dad on the way to school, and then I would listen. Back then, it was Furness and Souk.
Yeah.
And then I'd listen to Rop and the Mop on Saturdays. That was when I was going to like soccer or basketball or football.
So we're going into 2024. At the start of 2014, we did The Hunt for the Host. I never listened to this station.
Dude, I remember The Hunt for the Host and being super upset.
That you were too young?
I was too young. You had to be 18. I was so mad.
How old were you?
Probably 14.
Yeah.
Well, wait, when was it?
It was 2014, so you'd have been, what, 16?
Yeah, 16, yeah. 15 or 16, depending on when it was.
That should be mine.
It could have been me. No, it couldn't have been.
And now it is. And now it is. So, yeah, it's certainly been a while. All right, what about your favorite sports moments of the year? I know you enjoy a little bit of all sports, football being your primary, but what's your favorite sports moments of the year?
The hockey run for the Kraken.
Yeah?
That was fantastic, dude. You went from a team that...
Oh, yeah, and your dad and uncle are big hockey guys.
Big hockey guys, and so that was fun, but... And I mean, obviously I was still at home at that point, not anymore, but being at home and getting to watch that with my dad and my mom and my uncle being around, and my grandpa's a big hockey guy. So being around them, that made it fun because I watched every single one of those playoff games with somebody. It was never a solo thing, but you had this team that it's their second year. You're not really expecting them to be that good. Their top goalie gets hurt. They have this no-name goalie who's been a journeyman. All of a sudden, he's having a really good year. Beniers, he jumps up and he's having a fantastic rookie campaign. I believe he ended up winning the Rookie of the Year. And you just have this team that is full of a bunch of pretty decent, slightly above average players. There's no true superstar. And they find a way to get into the playoffs. So then you're happy. You're like, cool, they made it into the playoffs. Couldn't be more excited. They're going to play the defending Stanley Cup champions. They're playing the Avalanche. That team is just absolutely loaded. You finally get your star goalie back. And then all of a sudden, you win that series and it goes 7 games, and there's nothing better than a game 7 in playoff hockey, and you find a way to get the job done. Then you're playing the Dallas Stars and you don't win that series, but you went all the way to game 7 in that one. And it never felt like there was a single game where you were blown out and it was done and you just weren't supposed to be there. And it's this new thing. And I think not just for me, because I was already going to enjoy Kraken hockey, but I think for a lot of fans of sports in the Pacific Northwest, like finally you have a hockey team where you have a reason to at least kind of care.
Did you make it up to a game at all?
I still have never been able to afford to get up to one.
Matty Beniers did win the Calder Trophy.
He did win. Yep. And that's what I thought. I knew there was a guy in Dallas who was pretty good too, but to have that run this early in their franchise history, I think it's huge for growing the game out here. I love going to Winterhawk games. I went to Winterhawk games, with my grandpa since I was a kid. I remember going and watching Ty Ratty and Seth Jones and Sven Barchi and cheering for Matt Caruth in net. Like, I loved going to those games because my grandpa could take me and they were cheap and they were a really good hockey team back then.
Your grandpa made you pay?
No, but they're cheap now and I can afford to go to them now, but I love hockey, and to finally have a team in the Pacific Northwest perform that way and be as good as they were, it was just so exciting this year.
The way hockey has been embraced, I mean, early success always makes it that much easier. But the way the Golden Knights kicked down the door and went to a Stanley Cup in year 1 and then the Kraken in year 2, but the way that the fans have embraced hockey, both out here and in Vegas, can we get a hockey team in Portland? Can we just do that? We've got an arena. Somebody go out and start talking to the powers that be. I know we want to have baseball here, and I'm not saying that you have to do it at the detriment of that, but let's go out and get an NHL team here. You would have so many NHL fans so quickly in this city, because I don't know that there's a better sport to watch live.
Well, they were supposed to have a team. Paul Allen said no.
I know. Paul Allen's not here.
It's like his one misstep.
Well, amen to that. Well, I mean, in fairness, I mean there's a few, but
big asterisk there.
but no, I mean it does make a difference when you can have a local team that you can root for. I remember going to Boston and being shocked because we went for a Red Sox game, and we went out there in April. And the Celtics were playing great and top of the East or near the top of the East. You had the Red Sox getting started off, and of course the Red Sox we know are a big deal nationally as well as locally. But the biggest team and the biggest draw for everything,
the Bees,
dude, man, they were crazy for it. Everywhere you looked, the game was on or on replay or on Hockey Talk, and it was just the biggest thing going because people love their hockey locally, and it's not the biggest national sport, but it would be a blast to have a hockey rivalry between Portland and Seattle. Let's go.
The I-5 rivalry. And like you'd finally get it back from what it was like in basketball.
Well, the NBA said that Seattle will be the next expansion city, but come on, let's not wait for basketball. Let's get the hockey going too.
Right. Well, and like you could have a cool name with it, like the Rose City, whatever.
Well, the Rosebuds are on the Stanley Cup.
That's right, because they won one, right?
Yeah, 1914. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, they've already won one. So I think it'd be fantastic. All right, well, what are your lowlights from 2023? I'll give you a second to think about it. We'll wrap up the segment with the worst, and then any predictions for the year to come. We're giving Will Ortner the reins on predictions and look backs to finish out the show. We'll do that next. This is Dirt and Sprague, Luke and Will edition on 1080 The Fan. 2015-16 season that set them up to challenge the Montreal Canadiens for the Stanley Cup. The championship series went the distance, a full 5 games before Portland lost on the late goal by the Canadiens goalie Goldie Progers. It marked the start of Montreal's hockey dynasty, but somehow they still put the Rosebuds on the cup. They wrote their names in, so it is on the Stanley Cup, but they didn't actually win anything.
So they got a participation trophy, basically?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, the first 2 American cities to have their name on there are Portland and Seattle.
Well, that's pretty cool, because that's right, because didn't the Steelhead or something win?
Yeah, I don't know what the Seattle team was, but anyway, I was just trying to figure this out. So let's see. Seattle Steelhead. That's a good name too. It's not as good as a Kraken. The Kraken's pretty fantastic.
It doesn't get much better.
Yeah. The the first one they have on here is the 17-18. If I look at the pro hockey, the Stanley Cup winners. So the cup was passed around for a whole slew of different reasons, it looks like. But yeah, the Toronto Arenas were on there as the first one listed on Hockey Reference. So I don't know. But the Rosebuds are on there. I did see the Stanley Cup. It made a tour through Portland, actually right after we did the Hunt for the Host years and years ago, and got to see it. And the first thing they point out is, there's the Rosebuds.
There they are.
There they are. Can't tell anything about it. Didn't know the story, but there you go. All right. So your favorite moment of the year was the Kraken's chase for the Stanley Cup. They fell a little bit short, but that was pretty epic. What's your most disappointing moment of 2023? Mariners?
Yeah, I mean, I think me, like 54% of the fans here at 1080 The Fan, are a little disappointed in the Mariners. It just felt like you were finally building on a true winner, right? Like you have all these young stars, and you actually got your owner to go out and trade for pitching. All of the young pitching stars that you have, they start off so slow. If they don't have one of the craziest stretches in July and August.
Yep. Well, they had the best month for wins in franchise history in August. They won 21 games.
Right.
And they have the record for the most wins in a season. So it's not a piddly little franchise record. That's 21 wins. They had, I think, 3 or 4 months where they won 20 in 2001. But yeah, they couldn't even hang on to it. They got to first place in the division, only to relinquish it to the Rangers, who go on to win the World Series.
Right. Well, and the other part that's frustrating about it is now you're in this offseason where there's a bunch of free agents and nothing. You can add to it, and you're selling for nothing.
Yep. Yeah, Jared Kelenic had a great start to the year. He broke his foot after a frustrating loss and missed opportunity. He misses some time, and they ship him out. Come on.
And it seems like it's all just moved on for money. It's literally all for money. Yep. How is that not a low light? Like, you have sucked and you've been horrible.
There's one Major League Baseball team that has never played for a World Series.
And that's you.
You have the record for the most wins in a regular season ever. You didn't even make it to the World Series. Invest in this team. People, there was the playoff atmosphere in September when they were kind of making their playoff push was awesome. And to sell now, I have a hard time disagreeing with you on actually either of those. So what are you looking forward to most in 2024? Sports-wise, personal-wise, whatever you want to share.
Personal-wise?
Well, no, I mean, are you gonna, murder one of us that has a regular seat on one of these shows and take over?
I will
What's
not.
your plan?
I will not be murdering.
Well, that's fantastic.
I can promise that no one will die at my. I look forward to not murdering anybody.
That's something to look forward to. I look forward to you not murdering anybody.
You know what? I look forward to the 12-team playoff. I look forward to the draft.
Yeah, that won't play until 2025.
I know that's why.
It starts December 20th. I can't believe they're starting it so late. The championship game next year for college football will be January 20th, 2025.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? Why are they pushing it back? We have all this time in December. You could take over December. Nope.
Not going to.
Nope.
So I do look forward to the playoff and the chaos that is college football. I look forward to the draft. I look forward to like seeing who Seattle will get, because I feel like Seattle has reached, for the Seahawks, they have reached a point where, kind of like the Blazers, where you're good enough to get in, but you're not good enough to win a title. And that was what the Blazers were for so long with Damian Lillard, right? How do you take the next step up? You go and draft a QB, and I feel like this is the class to go and get one.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're probably gonna have a chance at 3 of those guys, or you go and pick up an old name. Please don't go get Russell Wilson. But if you have an opportunity to go pick up an older or one of the young guys, I can see pros to all 3 options of the 3 that you would probably have a shot at between Nix, Penix, and Daniels. So I could see a reason why you'd go with any of them. So that's fun. And then personal life, I guess I should shout these people out. It would probably be the smart thing. It doesn't directly affect me, but we will be adding 2 wonderful women into my family. And so I am very excited about that. My cousin is marrying his lovely fiance, Evelyn.
Yeah.
And then my brother is marrying his lovely fiance, China. So I am very excited to have both of those women in our family.
Which wedding will you get drunker and make a bigger fool of yourself at?
I think the option for that is probably my cousin.
That's what I thought too. That would be my guess.
I'm in the wedding.
Okay.
But I'm not like a main focal point.
Yeah, so this is going exactly where I thought it might go. So what you're saying is your expectation is at your cousin's you will be able to let loose a little bit more. You'll be able to, get a little crunk and make a fool of yourself. So the correct answer is then your brother's wedding, where you'll try not to get too drunk. You'll try not to make a fool of yourself, but you won't be able to help yourself.
Yeah, but it's like the best man. Like I gotta hold it together. You know, I can't be the best man who's acting a fool and being an idiot.
I bet you can.
If anyone can, it would be me. No one has a better ability than me to make a fool of myself.
Well, you're the only one that has an option, at least within your own self realm, to make a fool of yourself is you. So I believe in you. I feel like you can ruin your brother's wedding. I believe in you.
I think on the people who could ruin his wedding, I think I'm one of the bottom tiers.
Oh, really?
I do.
I know your entire extended family listens to this show, so I can't wait for you to call them out.
I think the number one culprit would be the bride and the groom.
Oh, really? How about that? That's an interesting way to do it.
Well, they wouldn't ruin it. Here's the thing. They're getting married. Like, there's no... When I say ruin it, it wouldn't be like someone, do you have anything, to say or hold your peace? They will be married.
Well, unless something goes wild at the bachelor or bachelorette party.
There's no chance.
Okay. All right. So they're making it to they're making it to the altar.
It's how many beverages they have. I have been to a wedding of a friend of mine's. Look, man, the bride, she did a great job.
Yeah. The husband